A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to give you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. You get a call that a clothing store in Hollywood is suffering losses. The value of the stolen property is over $12,000. There's no lead to the identity of the thief. No pattern to his M.O. Your job, get him. Today, you hear these three words everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. The cigarette tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. Chesterfield's for me. The cigarette with a proven good record with smokers. And first cigarette to have such a record. Chesterfield's for me. Chesterfield gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine. The taste you want, the mildness you want. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. And best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, June 3rd. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 9:56 a.m. when we got to 1592 Vine Street, Dodd's men's store. Excuse me?
Yeah?
Wonder if you can tell us where you can find Leonard Dodds?
Yeah, that's him, fellow back there in the blue suit.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I don't know how it happened, honey. No, I just came in this morning and I noticed the stuff was gone. Well, a whole shipment of suede coats. Haven't even been unpacked yet. Yeah, about 24 of them. Were white with a button-down collar. Yeah, I called the cops and the insurance company. Yep. Well, about 12,000. Well, a couple of customers just came in, honey. I'll call you back. Yep. Well, don't worry about it. Goodbye. Yes, sir? Can I help you, gentlemen?
Mr. Dodds?
That's right.
Police officers. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
How do you do,
sir? You reported a burglary this morning?
Yeah, you guys from Hollywood?
No, sir. We're out of Central.
I didn't think I'd seen you around here before.
You want to tell us what happened?
Yeah, come on back to the storeroom.
When did you first discover the theft?
Well, this morning when I came in, I went back here to unpack some new merchandise, and I found most of it gone. Here, I'll get the door. Now, this is our storeroom. When we get a shipment from the east, the cases are kept here until we get a chance to unpack them and check the invoices.
I see. Was all of the stolen merchandise taken from this room?
I'm not sure about that. I do know that a shipment of suede jackets and waistcoats was in here. It's gone now. A couple of cases of shirts, too. The only way I'd have of knowing if they took anything from out in the store itself would be to make a complete inventory.
Mm-hmm. What do you estimate the loss at?
$12,000.
When was the last time you saw the merchandise in here?
Yesterday afternoon.
About what time?
Well, I'd have to guess at that. I'd say about 3 or 3:30.
How many doors are there to the store here?
Just the front one. One in the back. Opens into an alley.
What if we could see the rear door?
Sure. Back this way. One of the first things I thought of, too, but it was locked.
You opened the door this morning, did you?
Yes, I found the stuff gone, then I checked the door. It was still locked.
Uh-huh. You have an alarm system in the store?
Yes, it didn't go off last night, though.
I see.
Here's the door. You can see for yourself there's nothing wrong with the lock.
How about it, Joe? No, there's no signs of it, Jimmy.
Well, that's what I thought, too. I looked pretty close. Couldn't see any sign of where they got in.
How about windows? Possible they got in through a window?
No, I'm sure of that. Only 2 we've got are in the tailor shop. Here. You can see them up there. Good 10 feet and barred. They couldn't have gotten in there.
All right, we'll have our crime lab take a look.
Who has keys to the place?
Well, I've got one.
Yes, sir, but who else?
Well, they're just me and Al.
Al?
Yeah, Al Baker. He's sort of the assistant manager. Whenever I'm not around, he takes charge of things.
Can we see him?
Well, you can when he comes in. Listen, I don't want you to give him any trouble. I'd trust him with anything at all. I don't want you asking him a lot of embarrassing questions.
All right, sir. How long has he worked for you?
Oh, I guess it's been about 5 years. I don't think I could run the place without him. Sure wouldn't want to try.
I see. Besides this Baker, how many people do you have working for you in the store?
3 others full-time. During rush periods, I call in extra help.
Can you give us a list of their names?
Yes, but you can be sure of one thing.
What's that?
Isn't anybody who works at the store did this.
You seem pretty sure about that.
Well, I know my people. All of them have been with me for a couple of years. I trust them all.
I noticed that you're doing some remodeling here. How about the workmen? Possible one of them took the merchandise?
Mr. Friday, do you know how much $12,000 in clothes is?
Yes, sir. I have an idea.
The both of you couldn't carry it in one trip. Not in a couple of trips. Whoever took those clothes was here a long time, and he worked hard getting them out of the store.
Yes, sir. But about the workmen?
It couldn't have been one of them. None of them have keys to the place. We have to open up to let them in, and they leave before we close. If they tried to get the things out of the store, one of us would have seen it. Couldn't possibly have been one of them.
Frank?
Yeah.
You want to call the crime lab?
Sure. Can I use your phone?
Yes. It's on the counter in front of the store. I just don't understand it.
Sir?
Just doesn't seem to be any way they could have gotten all of the clothes out. No way at all.
Well, they must have found one. 10:38. The crew from the crime lab arrived and went over the place. The whole store was checked, and all entrances and exits of the store were checked for fingerprints. Both the front door and the rear exit were examined, but there was no mark of a jimmy. The windows on the second floor were gone over, but the locks on them were secure, and there was no apparent way they could have been used to remove the stolen merchandise. We talked to the other clerks in the store. From them, we got approximately the same story that we'd obtained from the store manager. They verified that the merchandise had been on the premises at 3:30 p.m. the day before. None of them could say for certain that it was there after that, however. While Frank was checking with the members of the crew from the crime lab, I called the names of the employees into the record bureau for a check. Yeah, that's Baker, B-A-K-E-R. WMA, 46 years, 5 feet 10 inches tall, 156 pounds. Right. What? No, no visible marks or scars. Right.
Joe, I got something for you.
Okay, if you'll check the names, I'll give you a call later. Right. What do you got?
Come on upstairs. I got talking to Lee, and I figured from what they found, the merchandise had to be taken out in the daytime.
Lee goes along with that?
Yeah. The way the doors look, if they were open, somebody used a key.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks like we do, that somebody took the cases out, planted them, then picked the stuff up last night.
Well, what do you got up here?
Window that opens out on the roof of the next building. We checked the lock. It hasn't been tampered with.
Yeah.
Come on. Climb up.
No bars on this one, huh?
Over here. Right there behind the air shaft.
Now, what is it?
Take a look.
Shirts.
In this one, suede coats.
Is this all that was taken?
No. Manager says it's about half.
No sign of the rest of it, huh?
No. Must have taken that last night. Figures the thief will be back tonight for the rest.
Well, it'll be here.
Mm-hmm.
So will we. We asked the manager of the clothing store to keep watch on the cases of stolen merchandise while we made arrangements to place a stakeout on them. 12:14 p.m. The crime lab finished their investigation, and Frank and I talked with Lee Jones. He told us that he'd checked the fingerprints found on the doors and windows, but that all of them had been eliminated as they belonged to the members of the store staff or to the workmen. He told us that they'd found an impression of a tire print in the dirt of the alley next to the building where the stolen clothing had been found. He went on to say that they'd checked and had found that the truck belonging to the plaster contractor had tires of the same type that had left the impression. The canvass was made of the tenants in the building next to the clothing store, but they could give us no new information on the possible identity of the thief. 3:52 p.m. We checked back with the record bureau on the list of names of store employees.
Yeah. When was that? Uh-huh. How long? You get out clean? Mm-hmm. Nothing on the rest of them, huh? Yeah. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Anything?
Yeah. They checked the names, came up with one possible.
Yeah.
The assistant manager, Al Baker. He's done time for burglary.
The record bureau had come up with the information that Alfred Roger Baker had been arrested in 1943 for burglary. He'd been tried and convicted on 3 counts. He'd spent a term in the state penitentiary at San Quentin, and he'd been released. Since that time, he apparently had led the life of an exemplary citizen. 4:07 p.m. Frank and I took him to the office of the clothing store to talk to him.
Sit down, Baker.
Sure. What's this all about? You don't think I had anything to do with this burglary, do you?
How many times have you been arrested?
Why do you ask that?
We just want an answer.
You seen the record?
We've seen it.
You know without me telling you.
We'd like to hear it from you.
I was arrested once. I did the time. I'm clean since then. I thought when you did the time and they let you out, you didn't owe anybody anything.
Yes, that's right.
Well, then what are you guys hopping on me for? I just work here. I mean, just because I did a hitch for burglary that I had anything to do with this.
We didn't say you did.
Well, you're sure acting like I did, bringing me in here talking about how I was arrested. Sure acting like you think I had something to do with this one.
Well, you look good for it.
Well, how do you figure that?
You got the only other key to the door.
Look, I don't like to bring this up. Maybe you bright cops haven't thought about it, but who says Dodds couldn't have done it himself?
What do you mean?
Well, he's in trouble, big trouble. This would be an easy way out of it.
All right, you tell us.
Well, all the stuff is insured. It'd be pretty sweet for him to lift the merchandise, collect on the insurance, and then sell the stuff, too. It'd come out real good.
That's the way you got it figured, huh?
I'm not trying to figure it anyway. All I know is that you guys are trying to wrap something around me that doesn't fit, and I want no part of it. If I'm right, Don, it must be a couple of guys work here who could have done it.
Well, the way we got it, the thief used the key.
Well, that brings us right back to Dodds.
Well, if he's in trouble financially, then why is he doing all this remodeling?
He hasn't got much choice. He's got to brighten this place up or he's going to lose what business he's got. You check into him. You look it up. You'll see what I'm talking about. Makes a lot more sense than you hauling me in here.
Can you account for your time last night?
From when?
From the time you left here.
Yeah, I can give you every minute.
All right, go ahead.
I left here at 6:30. That's the time I always leave.
Who was here when you left?
You mean who locked up?
That's right.
Leonard. He always locks up, always.
Where'd you go after you left?
Went up to the corner and had a beer. That's like always, too.
Anybody in the bar know you?
Yeah, the bartender and the waitress.
They'll vouch for you?
Sure they will.
All right, go ahead.
After I left there, I drove home.
What time did you leave the bar?
About 7:10. I had one beer, smoked 2 cigarettes, put a nickel in the nut machine on the bar, and went home. I left at 7:10. Sure wish I knew you were going to want to know all this. I'd have been more careful about remembering. I forgot how many nuts I got from the machine. I'll take a wild guess and say 14. I got no way of proving that. You'll have to take my word for it.
What time did you get home?
By 7:50.
Where do you live?
Out in the valley. Traffic's heavy going out at the pass that time, and it took me 10 minutes longer than it usually does.
You prove when you got home?
Yeah, I can.
How?
Talk to my wife. We got a time clock on the wall just as you come in the door. I punch in and out. The time will be there.
What about last night?
I was home all night. I had dinner, sat around and watched television, and went to bed.
You didn't leave your house, huh?
No, not from the time I got home last night until I left this morning. Pretty bad, isn't it?
How do you mean that?
I can prove every minute of it. Look, you get off my back, cop. You start looking around, you'll come up with a lot of guys who had a lot more chance and a lot more reason to heist that stuff than I do. That won't be hard because I haven't got any. You sit tight and I'll show you who sold that stuff.
Huh?
Wait a minute.
Where are you going?
Just over to the desk. I want to show you something.
What?
You'll see.
Hold it just a minute. Now, you show me what you want and I'll get it for you.
Yeah, you cops, you never learn, do you? Open the top drawer.
This one?
Yeah.
All right.
Now open that one.
All right, what do you want?
A folder right there.
This one?
Yeah, that's the one. Put it up on the desk.
All right.
Go on, open it.
Yeah?
Now take a good look at the reason the stuff was stolen.
What is it, Joe?
Bills. There isn't anything in the store that's paid for. Take a look at them yourself. Here. Look here. Past due. Please remit. Your credit is important. Overdue. Past due. Go through the rest of them. They're all like that. There isn't a place in the country anymore that'll extend any credit to Dodds. Not one. You're looking for somebody who had a reason to steal the stuff? Well, there's your answer. You talk to Leonard Dodds. He's got the reason.
Come in.
Joe. Frank, see you a minute.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Telling you, you got to lean on somebody. You lean on Leonard Dodds. He's the one. Don't come around here bothering me.
Joe.
Yeah? Yeah, what do you got?
He might be telling the truth.
Huh?
Stuff on the roof.
Yeah.
It's gone.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Meet Peter Lynn Hayes and Mary Healy, America's favorite husband and wife comedy team. They are typical of smokers everywhere who are saying, Chesterfields for me. Mary says,
I've smoked regular-sized Chesterfields for about 7 years. Guess that ought to prove how I feel about Chesterfield's taste and mildness.
Peter says, Chesterfields for me, too.
As far as I'm concerned, King is the only size. And like Mary says, Chesterfield is the only cigarette.
Either way you like them, I'll bet you'll find Chesterfield is best for you.
Yes, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular and king-size Chesterfield. The best cigarette ever made. And best for you.
With With the removal of the remaining packages on the roof, our main opportunity of catching the thief was gone. We questioned the people in the store about it. From them, we learned that the manager, Leonard Dodds, had brought the cases of clothing into the store himself. We talked to him, and he offered as an explanation the fact that the insurance company wouldn't like him leaving a supply of expensive suede coats up on the roof. He went on to say that catching the thief was our business, but we were not to interfere with his running of the store and any attempt to apprehend them. We tried to question him regarding the accusations made by the salesman, Al Baker. He said they were ridiculous and that we should know better than to listen to the accusations made by an ex-convict. He went on to say that he resented the questions we put to him, and that if we intended to continue, he would have to get in touch with his lawyer. We contacted the office and made arrangements for a stakeout to be set up on the roof of the building next door, and then Frank and I returned to the office to check further on Leonard Dodds. We checked with his bank, and we found that he had several notes on the clothing store. The head of the loan department told us that Dodds' payments had been irregular, and that at the time he was overdue on one of the notes. We contacted the insurance company and found that Dodds had made a claim on the stolen merchandise that morning and had requested payment as soon as possible. We turned a list of the stolen articles over to pawn shop detail and asked them to see that the information would get into the hands of the second-hand dealers in the city. 10:15 p.m. Frank and I filled out the log and prepared to leave the office.
You about ready?
Yeah, I'll be right with you. I got it. Burglary Friday. Yes, ma'am. Well, I'm not sure. No, the officer that handled the case isn't here right now. What if I could take a message? Yes, ma'am. He'll call you when he gets in. All right, Yes, all right. If you'll wait just a minute, I'll transfer you to the main jail. No, the main jail. They'll probably be able to tell you. Yes, that's right. Just a minute. Hold on, please. Would you give this call to 2949, please? That's right, the bill clerk. Thank you. The woman wants to know how much it's going to cost to get her husband out of jail.
Yeah.
I got it. Burglary Friday. Yeah, Yeah, that's right, we did. Yeah. Well, when was that? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, we'll wait here. Right, bye. Well, looks like we've got it made, maybe.
What do you mean?
Radio car out in the Westlake district just picked up a couple of kids.
Uh-huh.
Both of them were loaded down with clothes.
Yeah.
Label on them is Dodds Clothing. The radio car officer had told me on the phone that he and his partner, while making a routine patrol of the area, had spotted two boys walking down the streets carrying large quantities of clothing. When they were stopped, the two suspects were unable to account for the clothes, and they were not able to tell the arresting officers where they'd gotten them. In checking the pair out, the officers had called burglary detail, and we'd gotten our first concrete lead to the thief. 10:47 p.m. The two suspects arrived at the office. Their names were checked through R&I, and they were both found to have misdemeanor records listing petty theft and attempted burglary. One of them, Walter Kramer, had been convicted on burglary charges and had been sentenced to Preston School for Boys. He was at the time on parole. While the other boy waited in the squad room, Frank and I questioned Kramer in the interrogation room.
How old are you?
18.
Where do you live?
You know that already. What are you asking me again for? I told the other cop, gave him all the information.
Where do you live?
2574 Brandon Street.
You want to tell us where you got the clothing you had when you were picked up?
You're smart cops. You figure it out.
You on parole now?
No, I got out clean.
Are you still that way?
That depends on how you read this one.
Where'd you get those things?
I found them.
You expect us to buy that?
I don't care if you buy it or not. It's the truth.
You're pretty heavy, aren't you?
I've been around.
That time up at Preston didn't do you much good, did it?
Be surprised what I learned up there.
Not what you were sent there for.
That depends on where you're sitting.
You were picked up carrying a load of stolen clothes.
You want to tell us where you got them?
You tell me.
Well, come on, kid. Where'd you get the clothes?
You going to play it that way, are you?
There ain't any other.
Where were you yesterday?
Starting when?
From when you got up.
I got to tell you all that?
We want to hear it.
Pretty dull.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I got up about noon.
You got a job?
Yeah.
Where?
Around.
What do you do?
Nothing. I'm a philosopher. I study people. I just sit around all day and study people.
How do you live?
Stay with my folks. They pick up the tab.
Go ahead.
With what?
What you did yesterday.
Told you. I got up about noon. Had some breakfast, then went over to Harry's.
That's the boy you were picked up with?
Yeah, I went over to his house. Sat around and watched the television.
How long were you at his house?
Maybe 6. Sat around and talked philosophy. Talked and watched the old movies.
What'd you do then?
Left and went out to study people.
Where'd you go?
Went down, played a couple of games of pool, had something to eat.
And after that?
Went out to a movie.
You got any way of proving that?
Sure, talked to Harry.
See your alibi?
Yeah, you talk to him. He'll tell you.
Now, you may not know this, but he's in the theft as deep as you are.
I got some information for you, cop. Neither one of us is in on it at all.
All right, get your coat.
Where you taking me?
City jail.
You gonna book me?
You called it.
How about Harry?
Well, how about him?
He going too?
Yeah.
What charge?
Suspicion 459 PC.
Burglary?
That's right. Come on.
You mean that stuff is really stolen?
That's right.
You're telling me right?
Yep.
It ain't true.
You tell us about it.
No, I mean, Harry and me didn't steal the stuff, at least not the first time.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we stole it, yeah, you got us cold for that. But not the first time.
Well, where'd you get it?
From a garage, that's the truth. We stole the stuff from a garage.
Where is the place?
I'll show you. There's a lot more stuff there, a lot more.
Clothing?
Yep.
Whose garage is it?
I don't know. Harry and me were walking around out there, and we saw this truck pull up. Guy got out and then loaded some packing cases.
When was all this?
Last night. The way the garage looked, though, it wasn't the first time. The place was loaded. A lot of shirts, coats, suits, all kinds of things. Harry and me figured that we might as well help ourselves. But we didn't steal the stuff originally, not the first time.
What's the address where the garage is?
I don't know. Up on Shortdale Avenue near the lake.
We take you up there. Will you point it out for us?
Sure, I'll show you. I want to see him get his, get it real good.
What do you mean?
Imagine having a garage full of stolen things. Terrible, that's what it is.
Is that right?
Sure. The important thing is that you know that we didn't steal it the first time. You got to believe that. We didn't steal it the first time.
Is there really a difference? 12:15 a.m. We talked to the suspect that had been picked up with Kramer. He gave us substantially the same story that we'd gotten from the first boy. They both agreed to take us out to the garage where they'd found the stolen merchandise. Before we left the office, we put in a call to the clothing store, but there'd been no report from the stakeout on the roof. The two suspects directed us to drive out toward Silver Lake. We took the freeway out to Glendale Boulevard and turned right. We drove out to Loma Vista, and then we turned right again. The boys directed us up the hill and then onto a side street. We went about a half a block farther before they pointed out the house to us. We drove down the street and parked the car. Frank and I and the two suspects walked back to the house and into the rear of the yard. A two-car garage in the rear of the building was unlocked. We went in. Scattered around the place, we found several large packing cases of clothing. The labels on them were from some of the most exclusive men's stores in the city. There was no question about it. This was the plant for the stolen merchandise. Frank stood by the back door of the house, and I went up on the front porch and rang the bell.
Yeah?
You're Martin Hetman, aren't you?
Yeah, do I know you?
My name's Friday, police department.
Oh, yeah, I met you over at Dodge. What is it, some more questions?
Yeah, a few.
Kind of late to come around, isn't it?
Well, maybe a little.
You're just going to turn in. Can you wait till the morning? I could come down to the police department.
No, I'm afraid we're going to have to talk tonight.
Oh. Okay, come on in.
Thank you. Anybody else in the house?
Just my wife and the kids.
Where are they?
Upstairs. They're all asleep. I told you I was just going to turn in.
Mm-hmm. That garage out back, does that belong to you?
What?
The garage out in the back of the lot, is it yours?
Yeah, it's mine. Why?
What do you use it for?
What do you use a garage for? I keep the truck there.
Well, where's the truck tonight?
I left it at a service station down on Glendale Boulevard. Having a grease and the oil change. Why?
Anybody else use the garage besides you?
No.
Everything in it belong to you?
You mind if I call my lawyer?
Well, you can do that from downtown.
You arresting me?
Yes, sir.
You found the stuff, huh?
We found it.
That cigarette?
Yeah, here. Here's a match.
I guess I should have gotten it out of the garage sooner.
Mm.
Figured on it first thing in the morning. When you talked to me this morning at Dodge, I should have known. Should have known right then. I didn't think you'd figure it this way.
All right, come on, get your coat.
Yeah, just let me finish the cigarette. You sure had it figured. Going real good. Want to hear about it?
All right.
Well, I'm a plastering contractor. You know that.
Yeah, you told us that this morning.
Well, I bid on the jobs. All the contractors submit bids on how much we'll do the work for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I always got in with a low bid. Used to drive the other contractors crazy. Never could figure out how I could come out on it. You see it, though, don't you?
Well, you tell me.
Well, you see, if a job would cost me, say, $3,500 to do, I'd put in a bid for $2,500. I always get the job, and then I'd steal the other $1,000 of merchandise, see?
Mm-hmm.
That way I could come out and nobody get hurt.
What about the store owner?
They were insured. Only body in the middle was the insurance company, so you see nobody really got hurt.
You about finished with that cigarette now?
Yeah, just about. You're pretty lucky, you know?
Is that right?
Yeah, sure. This was going to be the last time. I figured that after this, I'd be able to go it straight. Got my equipment all paid for, money in the bank. Figured I could go it straight. This was going to be the last time.
Well, you were right, weren't you?
Hey, you mind telling me something?
What's that?
How'd you tag me? How'd you find out?
We caught a couple of kids breaking into the garage. They'd stolen some of the clothes. They were picked up, and they pointed the place out to us.
Kids?
That's right.
Oh, about that. That's really terrible, isn't it?
What is?
Oh, this younger generation. I had legitimate reason. I was just trying to come out. Wasn't anybody going to get hurt my way. But those kids. I hope you're going to put them away for a long time, little thieves.
Come on, get your coat. Let's go.
That's just awful. No sense of honesty at all. I sure hate to think of what the world's coming to.
You want to tell me something, Hetman?
Well, sure. What do you want to know?
Well, you said you just stole the difference between what you agreed to do the job for and what it really ought to be. I got it right?
Yeah, just the difference.
Well, you hit the Dodge store pretty hard, didn't you? $12,000 worth?
Well, you see, that was a kind of a deal.
Well,
I didn't get anything on the last job, not a thing, so I had to make up for it, you see what I mean?
yeah.
I had to come out some way. Nobody'd expect me to take a complete loss, would they?
I wouldn't know about that.
I just wanted what I had coming.
Yeah, well, you're going to get it this time.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 17th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, the next time you buy cigarettes, I wish you'd give our Chesterfields a try. Now, that's all we ask. Just try them, because these cigarettes do a better job of selling themselves than anything I could say. Either way you buy them, regular or king size, I know you'll like them, because they smoke mild and they're really satisfying. Join the millions of smokers who've made Chesterfield America's most popular two-way cigarette. And when you do, I'm convinced you'll agree that Chesterfields are best for you.
Martin Averill Hetman was tried and convicted of burglary in the second degree, 4 counts, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Burglary in the second degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 1 nor more than 15 years, or by imprisonment in the county jail for not more than 1 year. Walter James Kramer and Samuel Arthur Nicholson were tried and convicted of burglary in the first degree. Burglary in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 5 years.
This is the year that the March of Dimes has started its polio prevention program. And your dimes and dollars are going to determine just how far this program is carried out. Join the March of Dimes and give extra. Give extra for victory over polio. You'll be glad you did.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Harry Bartell, Vic Perrin, Herb Ellis. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
This is it. Say thousands of filter tip smokers who have switched to L&M filters. At last, a filter tip cigarette with plenty of good taste. And a pure, non-mineral filter. You get effective filtration because only L&M filters use alpha cellulose, entirely pure and harmless to health. It's the light and mild smoke. Much more flavor, much less nicotine. This is it. As Russell Russell puts it, L&M filters are just what the doctor ordered. Today, buy L&M filters.
Listen now to Barry Craig, next on the NBC Radio Network.
$10 a day and expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, Investigator, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of The Lost Lady.
You'll find it in Hollywood, jammed in between Van Ness and Wilton, right off the boulevard, Taft Avenue. Starts at a furniture store, runs for about a block, and then crosses Franklin. What happens to it after that, I don't know. I only go as far as the gray apartment building on the even number side, about the first thing you see. Figures that the guy who built my place never read the earthquake laws. A good crap game would shake it loose. Well, that's where I live. Apartment 308. In the back, where I can keep an eye on a brass drain pipe and a tired-out palm tree. I got a coffee pot and a bed that comes out of the wall. It isn't much, but the phone company had to have an address. That's where I was last Monday night, about 8 o'clock. Some Cleveland fans were running up a house tab in the apartment above me when the phone rang. I thought it might be somebody from Boston. It was the Lion.
Regan, I'm calling you from the office. I stayed late tonight.
You should have joined the union.
We got a new client.
Yeah?
Her name's Isabel Sanchez. I just talked to her.
Did you make a date?
She flew in from Mexico City tonight on American Airlines. She needs help.
They're saying that about the Democrats.
Comes from a fine family. Lots of influence in Mexico.
Try the State Department.
She came all the way to Los Angeles to see her sister, but she's disappeared.
Did you tell her about the Missing Persons Bureau?
I told her about you.
What do you mean?
You're going to find her sister.
I'm no St. Bernard.
You'll do till I can feed one. Besides, she could go to the Mexican Council if she wanted to.
Well, what's that got to do with it?
Remember the Pan-American Conference? We gotta be nice to this dame.
Yeah, well, don't make up a contract.
I already did. She gave me $200.
What else did you get?
She'll tell you the rest.
Don't you ever ask questions?
That's your job. She's got a room at the Belmont. Hop over there and see her. She's expecting you to find her sister.
Is that all?
That's enough. Call me after you talk to her.
I hope her check bounces.
Don't worry. She paid cash.
Well, you can tell that the Lion only stayed in school long enough to learn how to spell dollar. It took me about 20 minutes to get over to her hotel. Isabel Sanchez had a room on the 6th floor. I found it on the Wilshire side. 610 it was. She was a tall, blonde girl, not the least bit pretty. She had a mouthful of good-looking teeth, but she never learned how to use them in a smile.
You're Mr. Regan?
That's right.
Come in. Please excuse me. I'm still unpacking. Come in.
All right.
I'm so glad you're here. I suppose Mr. Lyon told you everything.
Your sister's missing. You want to talk to me?
Yes. Oh, it's terrible. An awful vacant feeling. I was so looking forward to seeing Carmen again. We were very close.
You talk like you don't expect to see her.
Something might have happened to her.
Like what?
I don't know. She's always been so independent and, well, strange.
Well, a lot of people have their own ideas.
I'm embarrassed telling you this.
You've got to tell somebody.
Well, Carmen left home against my father's wishes.
How old is Carmen?
22.
What was the guy's name?
What do you mean?
All right, come on. I got to have it all, lady. There was a man in it.
Yes. Martin Chambers.
From here in L.A.?
Carmen met him once in Mexico City. Thought she was in love with him.
When was this?
A year ago.
She followed him back.
Yes.
You took a long time to catch up.
I've been very concerned about Carmen. I received this letter from her a few days ago. It was the first word since she left home. Here. You can see it's not much. She asked me to come here. I took the first plane.
Mm-hmm. What about this address?
There's no such place. I went there right from the airport.
Who sent you to us?
You're in the phone book.
Is that all you got?
Well, I have a picture, and it isn't very good. Just a snapshot here.
Mm-hmm. Blonde, huh?
A little darker than mine. She's the same height. We wore each other's clothes.
Who else did she know?
Just Martin Chambers. Oh, no. Now, wait a minute. She mentioned a Dr. Menlo in her letter.
Did she need a doctor?
She just said he'd been very kind to her.
That isn't very much to go on.
I know, but you will follow every lead.
Yeah, sure. What are you scared of?
Why do you ask that?
It's a warm night. You got the shakes.
I had a long trip.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. You know this Chambers?
Yes?
You like him?
No.
What's that you got there in your hand?
An evening gown. Why?
You didn't bring that for me. Well, her story was smooth, but the clothes didn't fit. All the labels that showed said New York City. I went downstairs to a phone booth, and I got a hold of a friend of mine in the CAA. He checked into it, and he told me that nobody named Isabel Sanchez came in on that Mexico City flight. The whole thing looked phony, like a fan dancer in long underwear. Well, it was about 11 o'clock when I got over to the Lion's place. It was a cold night, but the Lion looked warm.
What do you want, Regan? I'm busy.
So am I. I've been looking at that Sanchez dame.
Tell me about it in the morning.
No, I'm going to tell you about it right now. It's no good.
What do you mean?
It's another bum client.
She gave me $200.
Her clothes are out of New York.
Maybe she came the long way.
She didn't come in on American.
So she's got a donkey. All you got to do is find her sister.
I just told you she's a phony.
Let me worry about that.
Well, you can start now. Here.
What's this?
It's a letter and a picture. That's all the lead I got.
Now, wait a minute, Regan. What about our contract?
New Year's is coming up. You'll need confetti.
I can't do a thing like that. We got a moral obligation.
And $200.
I'm thinking of our reputation. I've given our word.
Take it back.
That girl's a stranger in a foreign land. She came to us for help.
Oh, stop it, will you? If there was a quarter in the bay, you'd drop your mother overboard and tell her to hold her nose.
You're getting out of line, Regan.
If she came up with kelp, you'd wring her out for iodine.
That's enough. We got a case, and you're going to handle it.
You're going to handle it. I quit.
And I know this girl looks suspicious, but we have to give our clients the benefit of the doubt.
Why didn't you send her to missing persons?
I'll keep this picture and check with them first thing in the morning. You follow up that memo in the letter.
Well, a guy named Chambers has got priority.
Who's that?
The girl's got a love story.
It's getting cold out here. Check me in the morning.
I'll do that.
Remember, Regan, we always work hand in hand.
Yeah. That's why I never wear a ring. Well, it was too late to do anything else, so I went home and pulled that bed out of the wall. The next morning, I found a Martin Chambers listed in the city directory with an address on Laurel. Turned out to be a 2-story apartment building about the color of a bride's blush. And it was wrapped around a swimming pool the size of a bird bath. Chambers' name wasn't on the mailbox, but a skinny guy with a load of bed sheets told me I could find the manager in apartment 15. When she answered the door, her voice sounded like a beer truck in low gear.
Hello, Sonny. Looking for an apartment?
You got one?
Nope. Come on in. Having some coffee. You want some?
No, I'll pass.
You don't know me, do you?
I just got here.
I played the Palace in 26. Ah, them was the days.
Write it up and sell it to the movies.
Them slobs. Central Casting had called me in 4 years.
You got a card?
AFRA, SAG, and the Musicians Union. I played French horn. None of them call me. I figure it's a record band.
I'll talk to Petrillo.
I hate this dump. My third husband gave it to me. By the way, what are you doing here, Sonny?
I'm looking for a man named Martin Chambers.
What do you want him for?
Talk to him.
Cop?
No.
Day that guy moved in, I had him pegged for a gigolo. His hair was too curly.
Well, some women like that.
Not me. I used to have to chase him around the swimming pool to get his rent.
You're using the past tense. Where is he now?
Forest lawn.
That's one way to break a lease.
He got boozed up about 6 months ago and drove off Malibu Pier. Took them 3 days to fish him out.
Straighten his hair?
Yeah, it sure did. Oh, wait a minute here. I kind of like you, Sonny. You get around, don't you?
Yeah, when the weather's good.
Ever run into Louis B?
No, not yet.
If you do, mention my name, will you?
What is it?
Just say that Goldie McMasters was asking for him. He'll remember old Goldie.
How could he forget?
Palace in 26.
Mm-hmm.
Let's back
When I left, she was thumbing through an old variety. She looked unhappy, like a banjo player with a paper pick. Well, what she told me about Chambers took the leading man out of the picture, but there was a bit player named Menlo. Well, I called the office of a Paul Menlo, but they said he wasn't in that day, so I drove out to his address in Encino. It was a ranch house poured all over the top of a hill. From the looks of the place, Dr. Menlo must have been getting over-sealing for his cough drops. I parked my car by the gate and followed the flagstones up to the front door. When I pressed the button, I heard something that sounded like chamber music. The door opened in the middle of the second chorus.
Good morning.
I want to see Dr. Menlo.
Your name, please?
Regan.
You'll have to call the doctor's office, Mr. Regan.
I already did.
And they must have told you the doctor doesn't see any patients at his home.
Yeah, well, I'm not sick.
Keep it up and you will be. Beat it, Pilgrim.
No, I came here to see the doctor.
He don't want to see you.
All right, get your hands off me, punk.
Once I hit a guy in the ear, it busted his leg.
Oh.
I can handle this guy, Vicky.
Stop that. Get out, Max.
I'll be in the back if you want.
You ever been a referee?
I've been a lot of things. Come in, Mr. Regan. I apologize for him. He's so eager. Isn't this better?
No, everybody's eager now.
Anxious is a better word. I like blue serge. Has an effect on me.
You the doctor's helper?
I hold his stethoscope. My name's Vicky Starr.
I'd like to see him.
He's busy.
Where do I wait?
Might be quite a while. He just opened the bottle.
Well, then I'm right on time.
Paul's not sociable like me. He drinks alone. He gets more that way. Let me entertain you.
What can you do?
Watch.
Oh, no, easy, baby. I don't know how to fix a fracture.
I've already got a man that can do that. I want one with brains.
What's the matter with the doctor?
He keeps his in cold storage. Hasn't used them for a long time now.
Oh, I don't know. He's done all right.
This place? He'd be selling papers if his wife hadn't left him a good insurance policy.
Don't you like his money?
Don't get me wrong. I like being secure, but the girl has feelings, too.
Mm-hmm. They're beginning to show.
I'm glad I met you.
Why?
We're going to have some nice afternoons.
It's football season.
I have some free time. Want to hear me on the piano, for instance?
No, I don't sing.
I'll teach you. Paul says I should have an outside interest.
Well, keep looking. You'll find one.
You smile good, but you talk nasty.
You started this conversation, sis.
Max is still in the kitchen.
I came here to see Menlo.
You didn't say what about.
I'll tell him.
There's the phone. Call and make an appointment.
Yeah, I'll do.
Hello, Vicky. Who is it this time?
His name's Regan. He hasn't got a business card.
Have Max show him out.
You Dr. Menlo?
Yes. Should I turn all my patients over to another doctor?
Yeah, well, I know one you forgot.
Tell me who.
Carmen Sanchez.
Go ahead, Vicky. I'll talk to him.
Watch yourself, Paul. He doesn't know how to be nice.
It'll only take a minute.
I'll crack some ice.
Good nurse.
She's out of uniform.
We're casual. You said I had a patient named Carmen Sanchez. Who told you that?
Somebody she knew?
Your relative?
Friend.
You heard some wrong information, mister. I never heard of Carmen Sanchez.
I read about you in a letter.
Must have been another Menlo.
No, there's only one with a license.
You peaked, too. 25 a day?
10. I work for another guy.
Who?
Lion.
Lion's eye. Okay. You're still at the wrong house.
You want to show me your files?
Why not? Come on.
Okay.
They keep a duplicate at home. Help yourself. Want a drink?
Too early.
You don't mind if I have one?
No.
Anything?
Not under Sanchez, no.
Now do you believe me?
She could have used another name.
Got any ideas?
Blonde girl, 5'4", brown eyes.
Means nothing.
Do you ever know a man named Chambers?
Yeah. In high school, back in Denver. Drove a truck.
Well, that doesn't help.
I'm sort of retired now.
Yeah, that's what Vicky said.
Nice girl. Talks to everybody. You satisfied?
Not yet.
Don't mention. Always glad to help out. There's easier ways to make a living.
Yeah, I haven't got a wife with an insurance policy.
A year ago, I'd have broke you in half for that. Now it doesn't matter. You can find the door.
I'll be back.
Don't bother, Regan. Doctor will be out.
I left him sitting there with a glass of rye in his hand. It wasn't much of an interview, but there was a story somewhere. What Menlo didn't have in his files, he was keeping in his head, and figured he might open up if I showed him that snapshot in the letter. Well, I drove back to town. I put in a call to the Lion. Nobody answered at the office, so I went home. When I opened my door, I caught a load of taboo. Isabel Sanchez was wearing a dress she must have put on with a shoehorn.
He's got the nicest janitor. He thinks I'm your sister.
Where'd you meet him?
He was in the lobby when I came in. I've been waiting for you.
Yeah, well, we got an office, you know.
No one answered when I rang. I wanted to be sure and see you before I left.
Taking a trip?
I leave for Mexico City first thing in the morning.
Well, it was a short visit.
It was long enough.
What about your sister?
That's what I came here to tell you. I found Carmen.
Oh, you did?
Or rather, Carmen found me. I feel foolish now, calling in a detective service and all that.
Why?
Well, Carmen came to my hotel about noon today. And you imagine she's been looking for me.
Last night you said she didn't have an address.
Well, that was another silly thing. Only it was her mistake. She's not very good at details.
Where is she now?
Well, she's out buying a few things and packing. I've convinced her to come home with me.
All right. Now you want to know what I found?
Why on earth should I? I have my sister.
You were worried about a man named Chambers last night.
Carmen told me she hasn't seen him for months.
Did she tell you about her doctor?
No.
I met him. Only he said he never saw her.
Oh, is that so? Well, Mr. Regan, I do appreciate your services. Please thank Mr. Lyons for his kindness. I'm sorry I won't be able to see him.
Yeah, he's going to be sorry, too.
You'll give him this envelope. There's $100 in it.
You're paid up.
It's for all the unnecessary trouble I've caused you. And, Mr. Regan, it's all confidential.
You read the contract.
I wouldn't want any of this to get back to the wrong people.
You know some of the wrong kind, do you?
Doesn't everyone? Thank you again. Bye.
Hello?
You run any expenses in this thing today?
No, I didn't.
Good. It's all over.
Isabel said she didn't see you.
There's a guy named Gallagher in missing persons. Got an eye like an eagle. He took one look at that snapshot and opened a file.
What kind of file?
Dead and unclaimed.
What do you mean?
Carmen Sanchez has been dead a year, and the county buried her.
You are listening to the story of the lost lady, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Before we continue with tonight's story, here's an important message from the Adjutant General's office. The Army Nurse Corps Reserve still has commissions available for graduate registered nurses between the ages of 21 and 45. If you believe you qualify for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to the story of the lost lady and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, there are enough angles in this thing to write a new geometry book. Isabel Sanchez came to Los Angeles to find her sister, Carmen. She called in the Lion, who started me digging. A doctor named Menlo out in Encino used a milk bottle for a jigger. He was heavy on green stuff, but light on memory, and gave me nothing but an ice cube. His girlfriend, Vicky, was a little different. She gave me a warm glow, but I still drew a blank on the missing sister. Then Isabel walked into my place and said she found Carmen and called off the chase. That's about when the Lion rang and said that he'd found her, too, only his version was a little different. She was holding down a plot in the county cemetery, been dead a year. Well, I caught a cab and I went over to her hotel. A small man with a bald head opened the door and looked at me like I was trying to crash a coming-out party.
Yes?
I'm looking for Isabel Sanchez.
Are you a friend?
She won't think so.
She's not available.
All right, I'll wait.
What I mean is, could you come back later?
What's wrong with her now?
Oh, well, you see...
All right, come on, Buster. Let's throw it in gear.
Are you a guest of the hotel?
No.
Could you please tell me the nature of your business?
I want to see Isabel.
I'm sorry. I can't let you in until you tell me who you are.
Regan, International Detective Bureau. She's a client.
Oh, come in. I'm Dr. Stanwyck, the house physician.
She need one?
Not anymore. Look for yourself.
Uh-huh. How long's she been this way?
2 hours, I'd say. Bellboy found her a few minutes ago. She drank a lot. Alcoholic poisoning.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Regan.
When a thing like this occurs, naturally, we don't like it to get around to the other guests. You'll use discretion, I presume. I'll be as quiet as she is. Thank you, Mr. Regan. We appreciate it. The elevator's to your right. I got a good memory.
Regan,
What are you doing here?
come to talk to our client.
You'll need a Ouija board.
What you mean?
She's dead.
Why'd you let that happen?
She wouldn't have done you any good.
What you talking about?
Yeah, all right. You go to Isabel. You say her sister's buried on the county, but it'll take a little cash to keep it out of the newspapers.
Not so loud.
Go back to your contest, Blank's big shot. That Sanchez dame didn't come from Mexico, and she wasn't rich.
You mean she's been lying?
I told you that yesterday.
All right, we'll close the Sanchez case.
Oh, no, we won't. It's still wide open.
Where you going?
To buy an Airwick. Well, I went down to the Hall of Records. It's a brown building off Temple that leans over like an old lady with a short cane. I took the elevator upstairs, and I walked down to vital statistics. The place was empty, except for a guy sitting behind the desk. He had on a black suit with dust on the shoulders. His fingernails were dirty, and he was reading a dictionary. He must have been at a good part, because he looked mad when I nudged him.
Nada de das. Quick shove it.
I want some information.
That's what I'm here for. I'm a public servant.
Now, let's get to the death files, will you?
You're a morbid guy. You got a lot of stuff on births and marriages. Ask me something about that.
Carmen Sanchez died a year ago in August. Tell me what from.
Okay. How'd you spell it?
Just like it sounds.
Sanchez. 17. Solas. Sanaki. Santa. Oh. That's what happened to old Sandy. No wonder I ain't seen him around.
Get the Sanchez.
All right. I got the Sanchez. Carmen. 22, date of death, 8/30/47. Alcoholic poisoning. She drank a lot.
Who signed the certificate?
P.E. Menlo, M.D.
Thanks.
Next time, make it something hard.
All right. Try this. Menlo's wife died about the same time.
Masters, Marie, Melbourne, Babbitt, Menlo. Sylvia, 34/9/2/47. Alcoholic poisoning.
Certification?
P.E. Menlo. That guy can't keep a patient.
Well, I left and I went back out into the street. It was almost 5, and the traffic was heavy. I started to cross the street to a sandwich shop on the corner. A yellow cab raced me to the sidewalk, but I won. I went inside, and a skinny waitress with peanut-colored hair brought me a cup of stale coffee and a burnt hamburger. I sat there and I tried to figure it. It was like swimming through a tidal wave in hip boots. 3 deaths from the same thing and Menlo's name on every one of them. Well, the answers weren't in the coffee cup, so I went home, picked up my car, and drove out to Menlo's place in Encino. The drive was nice, and so was the reception.
I built a fire.
I forgot the marshmallows.
We'll think of something else. You know, I'm not mad anymore.
I'm still looking for your doctor.
Let me take care of it.
No, I want to see him.
And you'll have to wait again.
When's he going to climb out of that bottle?
We had dinner at a place on Ventura. Paul found the bar. He'll stay till it closes.
I better go there.
Questions again?
Maybe.
I know some swell answers.
I'll bet you do.
I've worked for him a long time.
1 year.
How did you know? This is my night off.
You here all alone?
Isn't it terrible? Anything can happen. How do you like it?
Your way?
That's better. Now, let's have a nice, quiet evening. Just you and me. I had a feeling you'd be back.
That why you wore that?
Like it?
Well, you got talent, lady.
Discover me. It's been a famine of men like you.
You don't look underfed.
Why didn't I meet you sooner?
We didn't travel in the same crowd.
Let's start over.
Do you keep his files?
What's that got to do with us?
They'd never pass inspection.
Are you talking about something I should know?
Carmen Sanchez.
What about her?
She died. Menlo signed her death certificate.
Paul's lost a lot of patience. He's not very good. Did I tell you I played the piano?
You told me some other things.
Did I?
They make a good story.
I don't like stories.
Well, I'm going to tell you anyway.
I thought we were going to have a nice, quiet evening.
A girl walked in his office one day and dropped dead.
Good opening. Why'd she do that?
Alcoholic poisoning. She was a nobody named Carmen Sanchez.
The story's getting dull.
There was a snapshot in her pocketbook, not much else.
When does the action begin?
Right now, lady. The doctor's wife had an insurance policy. He convinced her to take a trip.
Why'd he want to do a thing like that?
So he could pull a name fix and collect his wife's insurance. He had a body.
No one will ever believe this plot.
He buried an empty box.
How do you know?
I'm going to have somebody dig it up.
What about the body?
He turned that over to the county.
Everybody lives happy ever after. Don't you like my music?
You're going to have to take up the harmonica, lady.
Why?
The gas chamber isn't big enough for a piano.
Who's going to the gas chamber?
You, maybe. And insurance fraud's one thing. Murder's a longer rap.
You haven't touched your drink.
I don't like mine that strong. Now, come on, lady. Get your coat.
Max!
I thought you were alone.
I lied.
Hello, Regan. You look excited.
It's tough, Max.
Yeah, that's easy.
Soften him up.
Oh.
I was in a white room when the trip ended. I tried to move my head, but it felt like a grand piano. So I just lay there. Pretty soon somebody put something damp on my face, and I began to see things. Vicky was there, Max. So was Menlo. If I'd have had a deck of cards, you could have played a pinochle game. Menlo looked kind of upset, like an ostrich with a sore throat. He had a needle in his hand. I got the shakes.
You're all right, Paul. Now go ahead.
Just like Isabel.
You should have stayed out, Regan.
Oh, I wanted one more look at you, baby.
I hate to see the nice ones go, but it'll all be over in a minute. All right, Paul.
Give me a drink, Vicky.
Never mind. Hurry up.
Let me have a drink.
Oh, you're too slow, Max.
Yeah? Keep away from me, Max. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Put down that
keep
gun.
away from me as well.
Oh,
I told you to keep away.
Oh. Menlo slugged for care of Max, but Vicky shot Menlo twice. And his knees knocked together. He began to pitch around like a toy balloon in a hurricane. He dropped his gun, but he held onto the needle. Then he slumped forward and made a grab for Vicky, and they both went down. He jammed the needle into her arm. Here. Same stuff you used on Isabel?
Yeah. They'll call it alcoholic poison.
I'll straighten them out.
Regan, hold my head.
Yeah. Here.
Call a doctor.
He'd never make it.
Please, Regan. Call a doctor.
Give me 5 good reasons.
5 good reasons? I got Vicky. I'll never use a needle again. And
you only gave me 2. Well, we didn't hear from the suburbs, but there were enough ballots to make an election. Homicide got the insurance commissioner down there, and he threw in a vote. Seems that Isabel Sanchez was Menlo's wife, only her name was Sylvia. When a dame named Carmen Sanchez dropped dead in his office, Menlo got kind of ambitious. He talked his wife into the switch, and, well, everything might have worked out. Except one night when he was seeing elephants, he told Vicky the whole thing. She set the squeeze play with Max in the dugout. When Sylvia got back and saw how things were, she called herself Isabel Sanchez and went to the Lion with a story about a lost sister. I was hired for scare work, and when she figured they had enough, she called me off, but it didn't take. And you know the rest. Well, the insurance company issued a fee for exposing a defraud, and the Lion got his picture on page 1. It was right next to Vicky's. She was wearing one of those French swimming suits. The Lion said that'd do us a lot of good. It did. We each got a free bathing suit.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, the Investigator. Written by E. Jack Newman and Larry Roman. Produced by Sterling Tracy. The role of Vicky Starr was played by Yvonne Patey. Lorraine Tuttle was Isabel Sanchez. Ken Christie played Dr. Paul Menlo. And Larry Dobkin was Max Brenner. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to juvenile detail. 4 children in your city have apparently been abandoned by their mother. There's no trace of the woman's whereabouts. There's a possibility of foul play. Your job, investigate. Today, you hear these 3 words everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. The cigarette tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. Chesterfield's for me. The cigarette with a proven good record with smokers. And first cigarette to have such a record. Chesterfield's for me. Chesterfield gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine. The taste you want, the mildness you want. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. And best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Friday, February 8th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of juvenile detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Powers. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from juvenile hall, and it was 7:46 p.m. when I got to 1335 Georgia Street, the office.
Joe?
Yeah, Irene?
You talked to Captain Powers?
Yeah, the way it looks, Frank's going to be tied up in court for a couple of days. Going kind of hard.
Gang war, isn't it?
Yeah, seems like everybody in town's climbed on this one. Really making a big thing out of it.
Uh-huh.
Fellow Skipper said I was supposed to give you a hand on anything that might come up.
Then you just made it. Woman in the next office. You better talk to her.
What's it about?
It'll be better if you got it straight from her.
Was she a crank?
I don't think so. See what you can figure.
All right.
Mrs. Eggers?
Yes, Miss Gardner. You ready to do something about this?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like you to meet Sergeant Friday. Joe, this is Mrs. Eggers.
Now, how do you do?
Miss Eggers?
If you'd give him the story the way you told it to me.
You bet I will. Sit down, young man. I'll tell you all about it.
All right.
Get your book out.
I beg your pardon?
Your book. You're going to take some notations, aren't you?
Well, if you'll just tell us what this is all about.
Yeah. Well, I don't want you to get the idea that I'm the nosy type. I'm not. It's just that I take an interest in the things that go on around me. Civil-minded's the way they put it in the papers.
Uh-huh.
Of course, there are people who say that I pay too much mind to their business, but it isn't true, not a bit of it.
If you'd tell the sergeant what happened.
Oh, yeah. Well, these people moved into the house about 6 months ago, the 5 of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Stevie, Pamela, Carol, Martin, and the mother, Rowena. 4 kids and the mother.
All right. Would you like to go on?
Well, now, right off, I could spot this woman. Seen a lot of them.
Well, how do you mean that, Miss Eggers?
You can make it crystal if it's any easier.
Yes, ma'am. What did you mean? That you've seen a lot of them?
Alkies, you know. Drunks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's one. I could spot it right off. Her and those 4 beautiful children.
Yeah.
Well, the first few months they lived there, I'd maybe see her a couple times a week, you know, going in the house or coming out. Just a couple times a week.
I see.
Last week, 10 days, I haven't seen her at all. Not even a little sight.
Mm-hmm.
So right off, I figured that something was wrong. That's the way it looks to me.
All right, thank you, Miss Eggers. We'll check on the house right away.
Well, that's what I wanted this policewoman to do. I told her I'd go right along with you.
Well, that won't be necessary.
Now, listen, young man, if there's anything wrong with them kids, I want to know about it. I want to do my part. The whole neighborhood's talking.
Is that right?
Sure. Little Stevie's been to all the houses looking for something to do, asking for work. It just seems to me that there's something wrong about the whole caboodle of them. Not seeing the mother and the way the boy don't eat the lunch plate, not seeing the other kids. There's something that don't fit over there.
All right, ma'am, we'll look right into it.
You just do that. We'll see what I say is true.
Thank you, Mrs. Eggers.
Don't go thanking me. Just trying to be civil-minded, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Just seems that there isn't anybody who cares about those kids.
Well, that's not true, Miss Eggers.
What?
We do. 8:14 p.m. Policewoman Irene Gardner and I left the office and drove over to the address the Eggers woman had given us. The house was a small one-story clapboard building located on the rear of the lot. The front yard was overgrown with weeds, and there were neighborhood advertising papers lying around. When we arrived, there was a faint light on in one of the front rooms. Irene and I went up to the front door and we knocked. We got no answer. I tried the door, but we found it locked. There was no sound from inside the place. The shades were drawn over the windows so that it was impossible for us to see into the house. We walked around to the rear and tried the back door.
It's locked.
Yeah, doesn't look like there's anybody home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk to that Eggers woman again, huh?
All right.
Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? From the story she gave us, the kid should be at home.
She might be seeing things, Joe. You know, trying to figure out some way to get attention.
Yeah, might be. Didn't seem like that to me, though.
Joe?
What? What do you got there?
The front window. There, you see it?
Yeah, there's somebody in there. Come on, let's go. Try it again.
Yeah. Not answering.
Come on, open up in there. We know you're in there. Come on. Open the door.
What do you want?
Police officers, let us in.
There's nothing wrong. Go away.
No, we can't do that. Now, come on, open up.
Who are you going to arrest?
Nobody. We just want to talk to you.
You sure that's all?
That's right.
Okay. Just a minute. What do you want?
You Pamela Telford?
I haven't done anything wrong.
Well, we didn't say you did.
Then what are you doing around here? What are you looking for?
Is your mother in?
What?
Is your mother home?
Well, yeah, she's here.
Well, we'd like to see her if it's all right.
You can't. You can't see her.
Well, I'm afraid we're going to have to.
She's lying down asleep. That's why you can't talk to her.
Well, what's the matter, little girl?
Nothing. Why'd you ask something like that?
Don't you think you better let us in? We're going to have to talk to your mother.
But she's asleep. She's tired. You can't talk to her. You can't.
Now, come on. You want to go and wake her up? There's some things we've got to talk to her about.
I wonder if we could come in. It's kind of wet out here. How about it?
And then you can get your mother and we can have our talk, huh?
I guess you can come in. I guess it's all right.
Come on in, Joe.
Yeah. The front room was about 12 feet square. The only light in the room came from a candle in a jelly glass on a table. The only furniture in the place was the table that held the candle and a torn artificial leather and chrome couch. The floor was covered with paper, rain-soaked cardboard boxes, and dirty clothes. At a half a dozen different places, drops of dirty water were seeping through the roof. The water was being caught in empty tin cans that had been placed around the room. To the left was a door to a bedroom. In it, in a wooden crib, were two children. From the descriptions we'd gotten from the Eggers woman, we recognized them as Martin Telford, age 4, and his sister Carol, age 2. As soon as the children saw Irene and me, they hid their heads under the dirty blanket that covered the crib. There was nothing else in the room except a dirty mattress lying on the floor in one corner. From the appearance of the bedding, it hadn't been laundered or changed in at least 3 weeks. On the other side of the house, a small kitchen was piled high with dirty dishes, pieces of rotting food, and empty tin cans. The plumbing in the house had apparently been out of order for several weeks. While Irene and I looked over the house, the girl who'd met us at the door, Pamela Telford, followed us. When we got back to the front room, she started to cry. All right, you want to tell us where she is? Come on, Pamela. It's not as bad as all that, is it? Here's a handkerchief. Here you are. Now, where's your mother?
She's out looking for a job.
It's kind of late for that, isn't it?
I don't know. That's what she's doing, though. Out looking for a job.
Well, now, why'd you tell us that she was here tonight?
Because I didn't know what you wanted. I thought you were trying to arrest her.
Well, why'd you think that?
Because that's what she said.
Your mother said that?
Yes. She told us that policemen arrested people. She told us about it. How you did it once to her.
Your mother's been arrested?
Yes.
Do you know why?
Because she was.
But what for, do you know?
She got sick. She got sick and they put her in jail.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I told you she was asleep. I thought that you'd go away and leave us alone.
It's sure cold in here.
Yeah.
Do you have any heat in the house, Pamela?
There's a heater in the bedroom.
Oh, I'll turn it on.
Good.
It doesn't work.
What?
The heater doesn't work. Marty was playing one day and he broke the little rods in it. It doesn't work anymore.
Well, we should be able to get some heat out of it.
No, you won't. There isn't any gas. They turned it off.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think maybe you youngsters better come downtown with us, don't you think?
Why?
Well, it'll be warm down there, a lot more comfortable for you.
We can't go. We gotta wait here.
That's all right, Pamela. We'll leave word for your mother where you are. Maybe that's your mother now, huh?
No, it's Steve.
Who are you?
He's a policeman.
What do you want? There's nothing wrong here. Nothing for you to come butting in for.
We want to see your mother, son.
She hasn't done anything. Why don't you cops leave her alone? All the time you're after her, never leave her alone.
You're kind of rough for a little guy, aren't you?
That's none of your business. I know my rights. I know I'm good.
Well, look here, son. We're going to take you downtown and give you a good meal, just until we can talk to your mother, that's all.
Then you're going to bring us back?
Well, we'll see.
How about Marty and Carol? You taking them too?
Yeah.
Going to give them something to eat?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, we'll go with you. Just for tonight, though, that's all. Just for tonight. You understand?
Yeah.
Oh, and another thing.
Yes, what's that?
We're paying our own way. I've got money. Anything you give us, we're going to pay for.
Well, you won't have to do that, son.
Well, I'm going to. We don't need charity. We're getting along all right. Everybody has a little rough luck now and then. Everybody. Mom tries. She really does. She's been looking for a job for a long time.
Uh-huh. All right, Steve, you want to help get the others ready to leave?
I'm not sure we can go.
Well, I'm afraid you're going to have to, son.
All right, but just for tonight. But the only reason is that I want Marty and Carol and Pamela to have something hot to eat. There's something wrong with the stove, so we can't cook on it. That's the only reason we're going. Just because there's something wrong with the stove.
The gas is turned off.
No, it isn't. It just don't work. But whatever we eat, whatever we get, we're going to pay for it. I've got the money.
Well, I told you once before that won't be necessary.
Well, it is, too. We're not taking any charity. We've never taken any. We're not going to start now either. Anything that's done for us is going to be paid for.
Yeah, I guess that's right, Steve.
Huh?
It'll be paid for. 8:56 p.m. Men from the crime lab arrived and photographed the entire house. The pictures were held for evidence. A search of the house showed that there was no food for the children. In a cardboard box in the bedroom under a pile of toilet articles, we found a photograph of a man and a woman taken at what appeared to be a beach photographer's. Irene and I checked through the rest of the house, but we found nothing that would indicate where the mother of the 4 Telford children had gone. The youngsters were taken to juvenile hall, bathed, given clean clothes, and fed. At first, Steve Telford refused to eat anything until he was assured that his 2 sisters and his brother were being given the same kind of food. After the boy had finished eating, Irene and I talked to him. His previous uncooperative attitude had changed, and he seemed anxious to help us find his mother.
This is the longest she's ever been gone. I'm beginning to think there might be something wrong.
Well, when did you see her last, Steve?
This is Friday, isn't it?
Yes, February 8th.
Uh-huh. It was last Tuesday, then.
You mean this week, son?
No, a week ago. A week ago Tuesday.
Well, what did she say when she left?
Just like always. She said she wasn't feeling very good and she was going out and try to look for work.
What kind of work does she do?
Well, she's a waitress. A good one, too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the trouble, I guess. She's so good.
What do you mean?
Well, there are only a couple of places that Mom says are any good. Well, you know, where she want to work.
I don't believe I understand what you mean, Steve.
Well, Mom always said that she wasn't just a hash slinger. That's what she called it.
Oh, I see.
She said that she was a waitress and she couldn't go to work just any place.
Mm-hmm. Where'd she work last?
A big place out in Beverly Hills. Forgot the name right now. But when she got the job before she went to work, Mom took us out there. We didn't go right in, but we stood in front and looked at it. Big place, real nice. You know, all kind of glass in front. And you could see the people inside having a good time. We didn't go in, but we could see it good.
How long did your mother work there?
Well, she had some trouble, and she had to quit.
What do you mean, trouble?
Well, she got sick, and the man who was her boss got mad at her. And I guess he said a lot of things that Mom didn't like. So Mom told him that he couldn't talk to her like that, and then she quit.
Your mother ever tell you what was wrong with her? Steve?
No, she didn't.
Did you see a doctor about it?
You might as well know it. You're going to find out anyway.
What's that, son?
Well, Mom drank a lot. Sometimes she'd drink too much, and then she'd get sick. That's what was wrong.
Mm-hmm. Where's your father, Steve?
He died before Carol was born. Right before.
I want you to take a look at a picture for us, will you? Look at it and tell us if you know who the man in it is.
All right.
There you are.
That's Mom.
Mm-hmm.
You know who the man is?
No. don't think I ever saw him before.
Did your mother have any men friends?
No, I don't think so. At least she never told me about him. She always said that the kids were enough for her, that we were all that mattered. She used to say that when she got a steady job, we were all going to live good. She used to tell us how one day the phone would ring and all our troubles would be over. Just like that. One day we've had a little trouble, and the next, everything was going to be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she really believed it, too. Just all of a sudden, the phone was going to ring and all our troubles would be over.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to tell her.
Tell her what, son?
That they turned the phone off.
We had the name Rowena Telford checked through R&I. We found that the boy's story was true. The woman had been arrested once on a charge of 4127A LAMC, being drunk in a public place. Irene put in a call to the Waitresses Union and asked them to check to see if the woman was working any place in town. They came back with the information that the last job she'd held had been 6 months before, and that she'd been fired for insubordination and for being drunk. We showed the picture of the man and woman that we'd found at the Telford home around the department in the hopes that one of the officers might recognize the place where it was taken. None of them did. The next morning, we had several copies made, and we began a search of the bars along 5th Street. We asked each bartender if he'd ever seen the man or the woman. In the first 4 places we checked, we got yes answers to the query about the woman, but none of the people we talked to could tell us anything about the man in the picture. 2 more days passed without results. In the meantime, a warrant had been issued ordering the arrest of Rowena Telford, charging her with child neglect. A local and an APB were gotten out on her. On the 3rd day after we'd started our search for the missing woman, we talked with a bartender who was able to give us the name of the man in the picture. He described the man as a fry cook in one of the smaller restaurants down on 5th Street. We checked the restaurant, but we found that he'd been fired on Monday, the 28th of January. A check of his home address gave us no indication as to where he might be. Irene and I went back to the office and checked the name through R&I.
Joe?
Yeah? Did you come up with anything?
Check the name. He's registered as an ex-convict.
Uh-huh. Where'd he fall?
Back in Pennsylvania. Did time for ADW.
Well, we better talk to him, huh?
Right now he looks awful good.
Why do you say that?
What he was arrested for.
Yeah.
He tried to beat a woman to death.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Meet Peter Lynn Hayes and Mary Healy, America's favorite husband and wife comedy team. They are typical of smokers everywhere who are saying, Chesterfields for me. Mary says,
I've smoked regular-sized Chesterfields for about 7 years. Guess that ought to prove how I feel about Chesterfield's taste and mildness.
Peter says, Chesterfields for me, too.
As far as I'm concerned, King is the only size. And like Mary says, Chesterfield is the only cigarette.
Either way you like them, I'll bet you'll find Chesterfield is best for you.
Yes, smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular and king-size Chesterfield. The best cigarette ever made. And best for you.
An immediate search was started for the man in the picture with Rowena Telford. From friends of his, we found that we might be able to locate him at a hamburger stand down at Santa Monica. Tuesday, February 12th. Policewoman Irene Gardner and I drove down to the beach.
Should be it up there, huh?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Thanks. It's warm in here.
Yeah. Yeah. You like to see Willis Thatcher?
What for?
Police officers. You're Thatcher, aren't you?
Yeah, what do you want with me?
A couple questions we'd like to ask you.
Sure, I got nothing to hide. No reason to give you any trouble. What do you want to know?
You know a woman named Rowena Telford?
Why do you ask that?
It's a simple question, Thatcher. Can you give us the right kind of an answer? How about it?
Yeah, I know her. Why? What's she done now?
When did you see her last?
I don't know, a couple of weeks ago.
Narrow that down, will you?
Why? Listen, anything she did, I had no part of.
We understand you were pretty friendly with her.
That's not true. Sure, maybe I had a couple of dates with her, not more than a couple. That's it. And anybody in the world could put up with her for more than that.
Why do you say a thing like that?
You ever know her?
No, we're looking for her.
You?
No, I've never met her.
That's how come you can ask that kind of question. And if you knew her, if you spent any time with her, you had to know what I mean.
Well, suppose you tell us.
She's a lush. A real lush. All the time boozing it up. Wasn't so bad that she got loaded, but she was real loud when she was tanked up. Real loud.
Is that right?
Sure, check around. Ask her friends. Talk to them. They'll all tell you the same story. Every one of them. First off, she'd have a couple of drinks. Next thing you know, any fellow with her be trying to get out of a place without getting his head knocked off. She was always starting trouble. Sit down, order a drink. The next thing you know, some guy was asking you outside. Well, I ain't built to go outside too often. I get hurt bad when I fight.
Mm-hmm. Does she have any other boyfriend?
You don't listen very good, do
What's
you?
that?
I told you, isn't anybody around here had much to do with it. As far as I know, there wasn't nobody who went with her.
How'd she seem the last time you saw her?
All right, she had a little hangover. She always had one of those.
Seemed depressed about anything?
Not that she talked about.
Mm-hmm. Did you say anything about leaving town?
Not to me. Listen, how about giving me a break and telling me what this is all about? What are you after Rowena for?
These fights you told us about. Do you ever have any arguments with Ms. Telford?
I don't think that's any of your business.
We're writing it down that it is. Now, how about an answer?
Well, we had a couple of beefs. I told you couldn't go around with her and not have a little trouble.
Did you ever hit her?
We're back to that, huh?
What do you mean?
You know the record, the time I did. You figure maybe I did something to Rowena, isn't that it? You think I hurt her?
We're asking you.
Well, you're way off the road. I ain't going to try to con you. Sure, maybe I had a lot of reasons to want to belt her. I used to think a lot of Rowena. Awful lot. But that's all over. All I want her to do is to leave me alone. Stay away from me. I didn't ever hit her. I didn't hurt her, no matter what you think.
All right.
You got to believe that. I guess it sounds funny. I ain't trying to fool anybody. I'm ready to admit it. I'm a bum.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have to keep telling me, not all the time. I knew it.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to be called a bum,
Mm-hmm.
even if you know it's true.
1:47 p.m. We drove the suspect over to his rooming house and we checked the premises. We found nothing that would definitely tie him in with the disappearance of the Telford woman. After leaving his room, we took him downtown where he was held for further investigation on the charge of suspicion of murder. We checked communications, but we found that there'd been no word on the missing woman. Her name and description had been checked through the files in Missing Persons Bureau without results. 3:40 p.m. Frank came by the office and said that the trial he was attending was dragging on and that it would be a couple more days before he'd be back on duty with me. A petition was filed on behalf of the children charging violation of Section 273 APC, unfit home, asking that they be made wards of the juvenile court. Policewoman Irene Gardner put in a call to the next-door neighbor of the Telford woman, but we'd found that there'd been no trace of the missing woman since we'd removed the children. 5:12 p.m. We finished up the log for the day and we were leaving the office. I got it. Juvenile Friday. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, what's that address? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir, we'll be right there. Right, thank you.
What do you got?
Bar over on East 6th.
Yeah?
Rowena Telford just walked in. The bartender was one of those that we'd questioned when we first started our investigation. At the time, he knew the Telford woman, but he said that he hadn't seen her for several weeks. On the phone, he told me that she just walked into his bar. Irene Gardner and I left the office and drove over to the East 6th Street address, but the woman had just left. We had her description and a description of the clothes she was wearing. We put that out to all cars in the area, but she was not picked up. Irene Gardner and I went back to the office, and we put out a supplementary bulletin on the woman. At 8:14 p.m., we got a call from the woman who'd made the original complaint, Mrs. Crystal Agers. She told us that the Telford woman had just walked into her own home. Irene and I left the office, and we drove out to the house on Vallejo Street.
Right on. She must still be home.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Police officers would like to talk to you.
Just a minute.
It's about time you got there. You got them yet?
I beg your pardon?
You got the little brats? They all run off, all of them. Get my hands on them, and they're going to get what for. Where are they?
We have them downtown, Miss Telford.
Why don't you bring them home? This is where they belong. I get my hands on them. Oh, what I'm going to give that little Steve.
You mind if we come in?
No, come right ahead. You got to kind of choose the way the house looks. I've been away for a couple of days. You can see how the kids can mess the place up.
I'm Sergeant Friday. This is Miss Gardner.
Oh, how you do? Would you like to sit down?
No, that's all right.
How come you didn't bring them back?
They're being held in juvenile hall, Miss Telford.
For what?
Well, when we found them, they were suffering from malnutrition. This place here, it's not fit for youngsters.
Oh, so you just took them out and put them in a home, the way it is?
Yes, ma'am, that's the way it is.
Well, you've got your nerve. You really have.
What?
You coming in here and breaking up a home like this. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
We have a warrant for your arrest.
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you listen to me, cop. You've got no right to come in here and break up my home. I know all about you, cops. All about you pussyfooting around trying to make everybody think you're so good. I know you for what you are, and I'll tell you this.
Yes, ma'am, what's that?
You better get those kids back here fast. Do you hear me? You get them back here fast, because if you don't, I'm going to sue you and her and the city for every dime it's got. I'll take this to any court in the country I have to, but I'm going to get my kids back.
You ain't half as good as you think you are. You want it plain, real plain, so you can understand it. You stink, that's what. All of you stink.
All right, ma'am, I think that's enough of that. Where have you been for the last 2 weeks?
It was the most terrible thing that ever happened to me. To anybody. He told me he loved me and said we was going to get married. I thought it'd be nice for the kids. That's what I thought, for the kids. And we was going to drive down to Mexico and get married. It was all nice.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was going nice. I gave Stevie a couple of dollars and told him to take care of things. And then we left and drove all the way to San Diego without stopping. And then we had some lunch on the way to get married. We had a couple of drinks just to make the food taste better, that's all. And then all of a sudden I got sick again. And he walked out on me. Left me right there in the bar all by myself. And all the promises he made to me, all the things we was going to have. And all of it, just a lot of lies. As soon as I get a little sick, he just had a couple of drinks. He walked out on me. Left me right there, all by myself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All by myself. I didn't have no money. No way to get back. What was I going to do? I believed him. I really thought he was going to marry me. I believed all he said, how things were going to be better. I believed it all. The dirtiest trick I ever heard of, walking out on a girl like that. A dirty trick.
I got one to beat it.
Hmm?
The one you pulled on your children.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 4th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here's our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, we've tried very hard to set a Dragnet standard. Now, to put that in just a few words, we try to make each program the kind of entertainment that you want. Now, we're going to keep working real hard at that. And you know, the people who make Chesterfields feel the same way about their cigarette. To sell a product, you have to make it good and keep it good. And the latest reports from our research lab shows Chesterfield is highest in quality. Highest in quality, low in nicotine. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Chesterfield, regular or king size. They're milder, they're satisfying, they're best for me, best for you.
Rowena Esther Telford was tried and convicted of violation of Section 273A PC, endangering the life and safety of a minor, which is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for a period of not more than 1 year. The 4 Telford children were made wards of the juvenile court and were placed in foster homes. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were June Whitley, Sammy Ogg, Virginia Gregg. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter tip smokers, this is it. L&M Filters. The one filtered cigarette with plenty of good taste and a pure non-mineral filter. You get effective filtration because only the L&M filter contains the miracle product alpha cellulose, entirely pure, harmless to health. You get much more flavor, much less nicotine. It's the light and mild smoke. Yes, this is it. As Ann Sheridan puts it, L&M filters are just what the doctor ordered. Today, buy L&M filters.
Hear John Cameron Swayze and the news next on the NBC Radio Network. Big music, and the big trouble, and the big 20s. So when they ask you, tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's Blues. Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Kepner.
Cherry Street, Kansas City. It's a standard speakeasy. The ceiling is low, the prices are high, and the whiskey is cut more times than a chin at a barber college. The entrance is just wide enough to handle one at a time, vertical or horizontal. My name's Pete Kelly. I play cornet. We start every night about 10, and we play till the last buck is home safe in Lupo's cash register. George Lupo owns the lease. He's a fat, friendly little guy you can always count on for a 20 in exchange for 2 10s. But that's all right. He lets us play the kind of music we like, and every once in a while he'll let us duck out to make a couple of phonograph records. All he asks is that we're back in an hour and 15% of the take. Well, last night, Matty Wynn had been after us for 2 weeks to make another record for him, to fill out one side. Matty ran a 2-turntable recording joint in a loft over on Baltimore. During the day, he'd keep busy making $2 personal records for the folks to send back home to the farm. At night, he'd rope a combo like ours to put out with some Dixie for the local market. We'd already pressed a few for his label under different names. The Spickersville Sparks, the Grundy Growlers, the KC Cats. Maybe you got 1 or 2 in your collection. Hold on to them. They're pure. Well, it was getting on to 11 when I pushed the tempo on the last number in the second set. Lupo glared at us as we hustled out. Packed up our instruments, we piled into a taxi in Red's Erskine coupe and slammed out for Baltimore Street and Matty's loft. All right. Let's keep it light, huh? This is a residential district now. Hold it down, boys, huh? Hold it down.
Hey, fellas, quiet down now. Quiet.
Pete?
Who's that, Red?
Looks like Zelda.
Oh, Pete, I'm so glad I didn't miss you.
Yeah, Zelda.
I have to... Could I talk to you for a minute, Pete?
All right, what's on your mind?
Alone?
I got a recording date, Zelda.
I know, Pete. That's why I came here.
We have to get back to 417.
A minute, Pete? A half a minute.
All right.
Okay, Petey, we'll wait upstairs. All right, you guys, let's move. And Pete.
Yeah, Red.
We don't sound like much out of corner. Make it snappy, huh?
All right.
All right, inside, Mo. Okay.
Thank you, Pete.
All right, come on, Zelda.
Don't be mean, Pete. I've had my share of meanness. The way the newspapers...
What did you expect? Rave notices for the way you divorced Matty to marry a hood like Johnny April?
I have a right to live my own life.
Sure, no matter whose life you kick to shreds doing it.
I love Johnny. He loves me. Oh, Pete, of all people, I thought you would understand, that you would...
Now, look, Zelda. I like a guy named Matty Wynn. In my book, he didn't rate the kind of treatment you dealt him.
You like a guy named Matty Wynn. How much do you really know?
All right, Zelda, just funnel this down. Now, what do you want?
Matty refuses to see me, Pete.
That figures.
I want you to talk to him for me.
Saying what?
You and Matty, you always got on well together. He may listen to you.
Now, look, Zelda, I got a job to do. Get to it.
Matty's got a record that belongs to me. I want it.
What kind of a record?
It's a record you and the boys made once, June 9th.
Well, you're beginning to make a lot of sense, Zelda.
You'll understand, Pete. Just tell him I'll give him anything he wants for the record. You just tell him that, Pete. If you talk to him, maybe he'll...
Now, look, Zelda, just for the book here. I never liked you much.
I know, Pete.
I think you were grief for Matty from the first day he met you until the day you dealt him the final foul. All right, now, why don't you just leave him alone?
For Matty's sake, believe me, Pete. For his sake, I must have that record, and if you're a friend of his, Pete, you'll advise him to give it to me.
All right. I don't know what you want with an old disc of mine, but if it's something you need, it's something Matty's better off without.
Well, Pete, I begun to think
like you deserted us for the Mound City Blue Blowers.
I just left Zelda.
Of course, the wisest thing any man could do.
She was waiting for me downstairs.
Why is it, Pete, that we always assume the vulture to be male?
She seemed more like a frightened rabbit.
Zelda, rabbit? Mink, yes, but never rabbit.
All right, Matty, I'll tell you about it after the session, huh? All right, let's get it on the road, huh? Matty, what do you want us to do?
Well, you just got one side to fill. Last time you did me singing the blues, we never did get a good take on Dixieland One Step.
Okay, all right. Come on, guys. Let's like each other, huh?
Quiet down.
All right, let's do Dixieland One Step.
How you want a routine, Petey?
Well, let's see, like this. Everybody going in. Nick, plug those brakes solid. Matlock, you take the first little break on clarinet.
Yeah.
Now, Mo, you take the second and really blow it out, huh? Give me a
And everybody in on the first chorus, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Now, I'll take it for 16. Matlock, you take 16, everybody out. Good and bright, huh?
Yeah, okay.
All right. Ready, Matty?
Just a second. Okay, take it on the count, huh?
All right, now, here we go.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Felt good, huh?
Yeah, it was good for me.
Fine, Matlock.
Matty?
That does it, Pete.
All right, you can pack up. I'll see you back at 417, huh?
Come on, boys. You stand behind, Pete?
Yeah, 10 minutes. Leave the Erskine for me, will you, Red?
Sure. Look, Pete, you come here to take care of your business. Leave it that way, huh?
Don't worry, Red. I aim to. Will you take my horn?
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
All right. Come on.
Nice, Pete. One solo seemed a little long for time, but I think we can get it all on.
Look, Matty, I know this is probably none of my business.
The papers and her marriage to Johnny April has made Zelda everybody's business.
Well, she asked me to talk to you about a record.
Indeed.
An old one of ours, June night?
Yeah, June night. I remember it well, Pete. I always considered it a splendid achievement in jazz that should one day become a collector's item.
Zelda doesn't know jazz from German needles and cares less, but she said she'd give you anything you want for that record.
You can tell Zelda that she can purchase a copy of June night at Lambert's for 35 cents.
Yeah, that's why I don't get it.
And if you're fortunate, Pete, you never will. Forgive me, Pete. I don't mean to be sharp with you, but you're young and carefree. Stay that way. And if Zelda should again approach you, take a trip around the world or someplace else, but go.
All right, Matty. She asked me to ask you, and I asked. Good night.
Good night, Pete.
Pete Kelly?
Who wants to know?
Hear that, Perry? He wants to know who wants to know. All right, I'll tell you. I want to know. Feel better?
Sure, I'm Pete Kelly, but I got a right...
And I got a left. Let's ride.
Thanks, but I got my own car here.
Right now, ours is safer for you. It's bulletproof.
Well, I was going to tell him I didn't need a bulletproof car. He showed me the gun. It was a .45. I know how to admit it when I'm wrong. So we got into the bulletproof car. During the ride, I cased the two artillerymen. Except for their faces, I'd seen them a couple of times before. At 417, over at Sour Sammy's, at Fat Annie's. The same tightly tailored blue suits, the same long, itchy fingers, and the same razor-edged lips and eyes. Oh, there's hundreds of them around. But they're pretty right guys. You gotta know how to handle them. Just do as they tell you, and the chances are you won't lose more than one eye. Well, the car glided to a smooth stop in front of the Roxbury apartments. The private elevator shot us up to the penthouse. My stomach caught up with me as the Gunsels pushed me into a living room that was slightly smaller than Swope Park, but less crowded. One man, all shoulders, no hips, and rich black hair, a face that'd make Wally Reed cut his throat. He was sitting at a table with earphones on. He was tuning a radio. He glanced once over his shoulder at me. I didn't jump more than 20 yards. It was Johnny April.
Just a minute. I've been listening to something good on the earphones. Here, I'll plug in the speaker for you. You hear that music?
Yeah.
Nice reception, huh?
Yeah.
Just got it. 12-tube super heterodyne, Magnavox horn. Pulls in Frisco without static. The best. Drink?
No, thanks.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Canadian import, the best. You sure you want number one?
Yeah, sure.
Well, luck?
Luck?
Yeah, it's good stuff. Got a jolt, the best. You know who I am?
Yeah.
You sure?
Sure.
What's my name?
April. Johnny April.
That's right. You know my wife?
Your wife?
My wife.
Yeah?
You sure?
Yeah, Mrs. April.
Don't you know her better than that?
Than what?
Than Mrs. April?
Well,
Huh?
Well, sure. I know her. I knew her when she... Well, before she...
When she was married to Matty Wynn?
Yeah.
But you didn't call her Mrs. Wynn, did you?
Well,
What did you call her?
By her name?
Which is?
Zelda.
Zelda, that's right. That's all I wanted to fix. Now we both know what we're talking about, Zelda. You understand now?
Yeah?
That's why I invited you here, to talk about Zelda. And why you're bothering her.
Well, you lost me, Mr. April.
Not a bad suggestion, but first I want you to tell me what you and Wynn are clubbing Zelda with.
You're asking me to play without a cue sheet, Mr. April. I don't even know the tune.
Tonight you stopped Zelda on Baltimore Street. You talked to her on a corner. You were seen. She was pleading with you.
Now, look, Mr. April, you're spinning it backwards. She stopped me, asked me to speak to Wynn.
About what?
Well, about a record she said belongs to her.
What record?
Well, it's a record. One that I made for Wynn. It's called... The title... Yeah, I know. This sounds silly, but it's true.
Half right, Kelly. Sounds silly because it isn't true. What do you want with Zelda?
All right, April. You take it any way you like. All I want from Zelda is distance between us. Now, I got a date to play.
Jake, teach him. What are you and Wynn cooking?
Nothing.
What do you want from Zelda?
Nothing, I tell you.
Johnny, what are you doing?
This the crumb who stopped you tonight?
Yeah, he's the one.
How much did Wynn pay April to take Angel off his hands?
What did he want?
Money. Yeah, he said he and Wynn would make trouble for me. For you.
What kind of trouble?
My divorce. About my divorce. Open it up again unless I paid them.
All right. Now listen to me, Tin Horn. You got luck. You got lots of luck. You should light a candle to your luck. Next time you fill a ditch. This time I only warn you. And these are the warnings on the way. Tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, you go to Union Station. You buy a ticket, east, west, north, or south. You go. You go till the train runs out of the rails. No more room for you in Kansas City. Only in that ditch. You hear me?
I hear you. Well, Jake and Perry drove me back to the Erskine. They dropped me on Baltimore. I sat on the curb, my head between my knees. After a while, I felt a little better. I could breathe again. The lights were still on up in Matty's loft. He was probably working on the master. While I navigated the long flight of stairs, trying hard to hold back the sudden anger kicking up in me. It wasn't Matty's fault. He'd warned me about Zelda. No use to take it out on him. Well, I went into the loft and made an effort to hold it down. But it was a wasted effort. Matty wouldn't have minded anything I said or did. Matty wasn't even there. Only his body, half covered with the burlap used on the walls to soundproof the joint. He'd been shot once through the head. clawed down enough burlap over himself to make a shroud. I picked up the phone in the office, gave Central the number of Sour Sammy's joint, and waited for Sammy to see if Barney Ricketts was under his favorite table. Barney Ricketts is the only ex-bootlegger I know who went broke in 1922. He set out to prove that a man could drink his gin without ill effects. But he never set a time limit on the experiment. No, Barney hadn't come in yet to Sour Sammy's. Well, I left word for him, meet me at Fat Annie's place. I started to leave. I hesitated and went back to Matty Wynn, spread a clean handkerchief over his face. I made the street 3 stairs at a time. I crossed the river, jolted the Erskine down Boulder Road to Fat Annie's place. Seemed like a waste of good singing, but Maggie Jackson was getting ready to do her number. I eased a lone drunk out of a booth, draped him on the edge of the bar, and sat and listened to Maggie.
Across the river on the Kansas side, that's where Fat Annie and the blues abide. To get your music and your chicken fried, come to Fat Annie. Just pour a pocketful of rock and ride across the river to the Kansas side. And when you get across that great divide, come to Fat Annie.
I'm just beat, Pete, right down to my shoes.
Yeah, it's a noisy crowd, Maggie.
Out-of-town wine buyers with gin chasers. Murder.
Yeah, do you want a beer?
Thanks, Pete. I could use it.
All right.
Hey, draw 2, will you?
Barney ain't been in yet, has he?
No. You got trouble again, Pete?
Where can I buy a new birthday? The stars are ganging up on me.
Ain't nothing in that astrology, Pete.
Well, there must be some explanation. Yes or no, hot or cold, I catch it.
What's the misery this time, Pete?
Only that Matty Wynn caught a bullet in the head.
No.
And if I'm not out of KC by morning, he's going to have company. Look, Maggie, do you remember a disc I cut for Matty? June night?
Sure do. Good session.
You got a copy of that one?
Right on top of the pile.
Where?
In my room, just down the street a piece.
Well, I'd go with you, Maggie, but I don't want to miss Barney.
I'll get it for you, Petey.
Thanks a lot.
Ah, Pete Kelly, noted troubadour, bar of the barrel houses.
Hi, Barney.
And Maggie Jackson, canary of the cribs.
I'll be right back, Pete.
Thanks a lot.
Petey, I've just suffered a great hurt. No sooner did I set foot in Sour Sammy's joint than Sour Sammy himself came a-grinning and a-smirking to tell me with undisguised glee that you were waiting for me here. He was openly delighted to see me go.
Yeah, look, Barney.
I was sorely tempted to ignore the message, merely to aggravate Sour Sammy, you understand. But since it was you, Petey, and in distress, I'll warrant, I came on the wings of Mercury.
Thanks, Barney.
Mercury, that's a thought, Petey. We've tried ether in our beer, chloroform, and even a tincture of laudanum. Now, what would a soup spoon of mercury do? No, too risky, unless, of course, one...
Barney, listen to me, will you? I'm breathing against the clock.
Never will I forget Sour Sammy's attitude, and after all the credit he's given me, too. No, Petey, it proves only one thing. Man is essentially an asocial animal. We band together only because we find it impossible to survive alone.
Yeah, I know.
But there is no true affection anywhere. Like the wolf, yes, take the wolf, Petey. He too herds, but only in times of want and stress.
Yeah.
And as soon as he doesn't have to rely upon his fellow wolf for survival, off he goes to prey upon his own. Yes, Petey, like the wolf, man is a lone hunter, hating the herd because he is forced to depend upon it for survival.
You all through?
Very well, fellow wolf.
Johnny April, Barney, do you know him?
Oh, yes. A fine gentleman, Johnny April, never kills on the Sabbath.
Well, I can't wait that long. He gives me till morning to get out of town.
Foolish man. Right now, you should be navel-deep in timetable.
Look, I got sucked into this by his wife, Zelda. She asked me to get a record from Matty Wynn that belongs to her. She told April that I'm trying to shake her down. I got worked over, and Wynn got a bullet.
What's on this record?
I don't know. It's just a disc I once made for Matty. It's called June Night.
Why does Zelda want it?
I don't know.
Why did Zelda lie to April?
I don't know.
Here's the record, Pete.
Thanks, Maggie.
And who shot Matty?
I don't know.
Let's save time, Petey. Just tell me what you do know.
Well, all I know is that Zelda's after this record, and she doesn't want April to know it.
And that's the copy there?
Yeah, June night. I thought maybe we could spin it once, and maybe it'll give us some kind of a message.
I'll put it on the phonograph, Pete.
Thanks, Maggie. I'll wind it up for you here. All right, listen to it, huh?
Good quality. Mean anything?
Nothing.
No hidden meanings or codes or ciphers?
Nothing there but the music.
Tell me, Petey, how are these things made?
What?
A recording.
Well, you record directly onto a round table of soapy wax, and then they dust this wax with graphite, and they dip it in a copper plating tank. From this, they make what they call the mother, or the stamper. And that's what turns out the records that you buy in the store.
I see. And the wax master, that's always kept in the recording studio?
Yeah.
When you've finished a job, Pete, can anything else be recorded on the master?
Well, I suppose you could dub from one master to another, yeah.
Petey, when I was a mere lad, my old father told me, when you seek an answer, child, always go to the master.
Well, I pointed Barney for the door. We got into the Erskine and jolted back over Boulder Road and across the river. Barney insisted on expanding his wolf-man-herd theory all the way back to Baltimore Street. By the time we reached Matty Wynn's loft, my fangs were on edge. Barney looked away from Wynn's body as we headed for the file room. I yanked open a metal container. It was empty. The master of June night was gone. Yeah, your old father was right, Barney.
He also told me the master will always be there for you. Notice the disarranged state of the files here, all the compartments.
Yeah.
Whoever came for the master of June night went directly to the right file as you did. Didn't find it there and ransacked the rest of the place.
Well, then Matty hid it figuring something like this, but where?
Let's look around the control room, Petey.
Oh, there's no place there to hide a flea.
Did you ever read a story called The Purloined Letter by Edgar Allan Poe?
Not now, Barney.
A wonderful little tale.
Now, look, Barney,
In
some
this
other...
particular story, Petey, a number of detectives were taking a room apart by the seams, searching for a letter. They couldn't find it, and why? Because man is blind, Petey. He never recognizes the truth when his eyes fall on it, just as our eyes now fall on this peculiar-looking record on the turntable.
Yeah. Barney, he wouldn't leave it out just like this.
Prove me wrong. Play it.
Let's listen to it and see.
You understand what you're to say, Zelda?
You work the script for me.
Not that I don't trust you, of course.
Let's get on with it, Matty.
A little closer to the microphone, Zelda.
Is this close enough, Matty?
Is this close enough, Pete?
Don't be foolish, Zelda. Put that gun away.
Give me the record, Pete.
Sure, in exchange for that gun.
You'll get what's in the gun.
What, you dealt it to Matty? The record here on the turntable all the time, and you broke 3 nails ripping those files apart?
Face the wall. Keep your hands up. Lean against it, both of you.
Excuse me, madam, but I just dropped in to make a record for the folks
Shut
back
up.
home. Surely.
One move, and I'll give it to you in the back.
That's my department, Zelda.
Johnny!
Give me the gun. All right, Zelda. I tailed you here. I only bought a small piece of your yarn. Now I want the rest of it.
I didn't want to involve you, Johnny. I came to pay them off. They killed Matty. See? See there? And I got the gun away
No
from...
good, Zelda. Can't you see his face? He's just run out of mileage and ideas. Listen to this, April.
No, darling. It's a frame. This...
Shut up. All right, Kelly, I'm listening, and it better be good.
All right. Here it is. It's all on the record.
Just close enough, Matty?
Perfect. Now, just in case anything goes wrong, this recording will be our protection from each other. To whom it may concern, my wife, Zelda, and I have entered into this agreement of our own free will.
All right, just get to it, Matty.
Go ahead.
I have told Johnny April that I want to divorce my husband and marry him. When this is accomplished, it is our intention that I be made a widow as soon as possible and then remarry Matty Wynn.
Just for the record, you agree to decoy said Mr. April to a predetermined spot where you'll be unarmed and without bodyguard. I agree to shoot Mr. April. The police will not question your story that he was ambushed by a rival mobster, identity unknown to you. You will then inherit the April money and return to me. You agree?
I agree. Crazy enough to do anything for you, even when you tell your own wife.
All right, fine.
That's enough.
This will be legal.
Johnny.
April, don't. Don't shoot her.
Johnny, don't. Don't, please, don't.
It'll work, Zelda.
No.
Back off so I won't miss you. Zelda!
Johnny! Johnny!
He can't hear you.
I should have let him kill me.
You fell in love with him, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Only one thing I didn't count on.
Yeah. You can't dance at 2 weddings with one heart.
Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Cathcart. Scoring by Matty Matlock. The music of Pete Kelly's Big Seven and Maggie Jackson is now available on phonograph records. Ladies and gentlemen, the Red Cross already has allocated more than $1 million for emergency relief work in the flood-stricken areas of Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, and Oklahoma. The biggest Red Cross job, however, will be rebuilding and refurnishing homes in the flooded areas. Cost of this job will run into the millions, more than present Red Cross resources can provide. That is why President Truman has issued a special appeal to all Americans to contribute generously to a special Red Cross flood fund of at least $5 million. Send all contributions to your local Red Cross chapter.
The proceeding was transcribed. It's the Silver Jubilee on NBC. Tonight, one of your old friends is returning to NBC. Yes, there's fun for everyone tonight with Uncle Gildy, that happy, bungling hero of the airwaves, the great Gildersleeve. And later tonight, there's the best in recorded music on Meredith Wilson's Music Room. Meredith's special guest this evening is Frank Lesser, the composer of Broadway's musical Guys and Dolls. And make a note to hear Dragnet tomorrow with another authentic story from the files of the Los Angeles Police Department. The great Gildersleeve tonight on NBC.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to bring you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A pair of thieves has been terrorizing the merchants in your city. They're described as a man and a woman. From their actions, you know they're capable of murder. Your job, stop them. Today, you hear these three words everywhere. Chesterfield's for me. The cigarette with a proven good record with smokers. Here is the record. Bi-monthly examinations of a group of smokers show no adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfields. Chesterfields for me. The cigarette tested and approved by 30 years of scientific tobacco research. Chesterfields for me. Chesterfield gives you proof of highest quality, low nicotine. The taste you want. The mildness you want. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. And best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, July 23rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from the main jail, and it was 8:16 p.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery detail. Hi, Slats.
Joe? Any word from Frank?
Yeah, I talked to Skipper this morning. He said they were having a little trouble with that extradition.
Anything big?
No, I guess not. Chief Brown said the authorities back in St. Louis would get it straightened out. Frank ought to be back in the middle of next week.
Mm-hmm.
Skipper said he wants me to work with you on that liquor store thing.
Gaffney and I can use some help. We run down just about every lead there is. They all end up in the same place.
Well, I got a little of it. You want to fill me in on the rest?
Yeah. Hotshot, I'll get it. Well, you can get it firsthand.
Yeah?
They just scored again.
Sergeant Slats Henry, Tom Gaffney, and I went downstairs to the carpool. We took out our robbery car and we rolled on the call code 3. It took us a little over 10 minutes to get to the corner of Alexandria and Burns Avenues. The place that had reported being robbed was a small neighborhood liquor store. By the time we'd gotten there, a radio car had answered the call, and a felony car from Hollywood Division had gotten there. While Gaffney talked with the men in the felony car, Slats and I went inside the store to see the victim. The uniformed officer who was with him told us that the elderly man's name was Charles Osborne. We got what information the officer had been able to get, and while he went to his unit to get out a broadcast on the suspects, Slats and I talked to Osborne.
Well, there isn't much to tell. I guess they worked it the same way they've been doing. Just the way how it tells in the papers. The same.
Mm-hmm. There were two of them, were there?
Yeah, a man and a woman, two.
Might be better if you told us just exactly what happened.
Well, just pick up any paper. It's all there. They've been doing the same thing for a couple of weeks. I don't understand it. I don't.
What's that, Mr. Osborne?
Well, these two just walk into any store and take what they want. You guys don't seem to be able to stop them. You go great guns after they've held up somebody, then you're great. But where are you when they're doing the robbing, huh? Where are you then? Where?
Well, if you'll just calm down here and tell us what happened, we might be able to do something about it.
Oh. Well, they come in just like always.
About what time was that?
Well, it must have been around 8. I was a little too busy to look at my watch.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to go ahead?
Well, there was two of them, man and a woman.
Yes, sir.
Man and woman stood over there at the door. Woman walked right up here at the counter, right up, and stood there. First off, I thought she had a cold or something. Wasn't long that thought held on, though. No, sir, not long at all.
Yes, sir.
Turned out to be a mask. Handkerchief, right across here. Right here across the face. About that time, of course, I realized there was something was wrong, Anybody walks into a store with a mask on, they don't mean no good. Oh, none.
Yes, sir. Did you get a good look at the pair before they put the masks on?
No, sir, not at all. No. They had them kind of up over their mouths when they come in, kind of like they was going to cough or something. Then they took their hands away, and I could see that the handkerchief was tied right on. Tied.
Yes, sir. You want to go ahead?
Well, this woman come over the counter and asked me for a bottle of Canadian whiskey. Just as calm as can be. I sparked right out. Now, mind, you see, all this time I thought she had a cold.
Yes, sir.
I walked over, you see, there. Yeah, that's where I keep the Canadian stuff, and got a bottle.
I see.
Got it right down, and I turned around, and there she was, just standing there with a mask on. Had it tied right around, tied.
Yes, sir. What happened then?
Well, I asked them what the big idea was. I thought that maybe they was playing a little joke, you see. They was, but it was on me. Woman told me to put the bottle in the paper bag and put the money in the bag, too. Told me to open the register and just put all the money right in the bag.
Did you see if they were armed?
No wonder you haven't caught them.
Sir?
You got a life-size picture of me giving them the money if they wasn't armed. You got that kind of idea?
No, sir. We just want to know if they had guns.
Well, of course they had guns.
Did you see them?
Well, naturally. Right out in the open. No. Wait a second. Come right down to it. I didn't actually see them. The fella, he was at the door over there. He had his hand in his pocket. She had her hand in a purse, see? Like this.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
Like this, kind of. Come right down to it, I didn't really see them, no. But I'm sure they was there, I'm sure.
Yes, sir. Well, what happened after the woman asked for the money?
Well, her and the fella just told me not to move for 5 minutes. Said me to keep real still. Said I wouldn't get hurt if I just took it easy. And they left the store.
They walk away from the place?
Oh, no, sir. They had a car parked right out in front. Right in front. Got into that and roared down the street. I counted to 100 by ones and then called you.
Did the uniformed officer get a description of the car?
Yes, I give it to him. Right off.
All right, Mr. Osborne, if you'd give us a description of the pair.
Well, the woman was about, maybe 5'3", around in there, weighing around, 130.
Mm-hmm. How about the color of her hair?
Red. Just flaming red. Had blue eyes, so I guess her hair really was that color.
What color were the eyes?
Flaming red. Flaming red. I told you that before.
No, sir, not her eye. Her eyes.
Yes. Oh, her eyes. Oh, I'm all confused here. Well, her eyes were blue.
Yes, sir.
So that's how I knew that. Hair was bright red.
What was she wearing?
Oh, had on a kind of beret, green, kind of green coat, red purse, red shoes, low heel. The front was cut out.
Mm-hmm. How about the man? What did he look like?
Oh, he's a big one. He must have been around 6 feet. I couldn't tell too good because he was standing over there with a door. Oh, but he was a big one, I tell you. He weighed about 170, maybe more.
How about his coloring?
Dark hair, dark eyes. Of course, I couldn't see anything very good. Then he had that mask on.
What was he wearing?
He had a blue suit on, looked kind of like it was linen.
How about his shirt and tie?
White shirt, black tie. Shirt was a button-down collar. No hat.
Did either one of them have any marks or scars that might make it easier to identify him?
Not that I could see, no, sir.
Well, how about accents? Either of them have any kind of speech peculiarity?
No.
Exactly what did the woman say to you? You remember the words she used?
Well, first off, she asked for the whiskey. Said, give me a bottle of Canadian whiskey. Didn't mention any special brand.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I brought it back, she said, just put it in the paper bag and empty the register in there, too. That's what the woman said.
Did the man say anything at all?
Well, when they was leaving, he said, stay put, Pop. Stay there for 5 minutes. You won't get hurt. Those are his words, exact. I remember them.
Mm-hmm. All right, sir. We'd like you to come downtown and check some pictures for us, if you will.
Well, I guess it'll be all right. You guys should sure get on the ball, though. It's getting pretty bad.
Sir?
It seems a little silly you can't catch these people right out instead of rushing around locking the door after the horse has been stole. A little late then, seems to me.
Yes, sir. Well, they've been pretty lucky. They'll probably try the same thing again.
Yeah.
We'll try to beat it the next time. A search of the immediate area failed to turn up anything that might lead to the identity of the thieves. A broadcast had been gotten out to all cars in the city giving the description of the couple, the automobile they were driving, and the clothes they were wearing. The pair had been operating in the city for the past 3 weeks. In that time, they'd established a fairly definite method of operation. 2 days before they planned to work, they'd steal a car. Then, on the night that they started their operation, they'd pick one of the city's main arterials and start at one end of it. They'd hit 3 or 4 stores in the area in a period of half an hour. The stolen car would be parked on a side street, and the couple would make good their escape. All of the routine efforts had been made to identify them. Due to the fact that a woman was involved in the operation, the State Adult Authority for Women had been contacted for the names of recent parolees. But when these had been checked out, we netted nothing. Because of the circumstances of the M.O., we felt that the first break in the case would come through the woman. The stats office had made several runs, and the possibles had been checked out. Results, nothing. 5 minutes after we'd left the first victim, we got another call. The pair had hit again, further down on Alexandria Avenue. All right, let us through here, please. Let us through.
Please. You the cop?
Yes, sir, that's right.
I'm the fellow who was robbed. I'm him.
Slats, you want to see if you can try to clear the front of the place?
Right.
Okay. All right, sir, if you'd like to tell us what happened here.
Terrible. Most terrible thing that ever happened to me.
Yes, sir.
I got to have a little something to calm my nerves. Gotta.
Well, can I get you anything, sir?
I don't have to, son. I got all right here. Whole store full of it. Just a minute.
Yes, sir.
A little brandy, that's what I need. Mother's sure going to think I took the little nip just to have it. Going to have to explain the whole thing to her. Imagine me being robbed.
Yes, sir. Now, if you tell us what happened here.
Yeah. Say, excuse me, you like a little of this?
No, sir.
Yeah. Well, these two came in here not more than 5 minutes ago. Man and woman. Came right in and asked for a bottle of whiskey.
Mm-hmm. Do you recall what brand?
Didn't ask for no special brand. Just said they wanted Canada whiskey. Blend.
Mm-hmm. You be able to give us a description of them?
Well, the woman had red hair, and that's about the only thing I do remember about her, other than the way she talked.
How do you mean, sir?
Foul mouth. The way she swore at me. Just something fierce.
What did she say?
Oh, just swear words, you know. I guess I didn't get the bottle fast enough for him. She told me to hurry up. Only she didn't say it just like that.
Where was the man during this time?
Oh, he was over here at the cash register with a gun.
Was the woman there, too?
Oh, no. She stayed over by the door. Seemed to be the lookout or something. She didn't come much past there.
Mm-hmm.
Right there by the potato chip rack. That's about as far as she come.
Mm-hmm. And you said they used guns. Did you get a look at them?
Oh, yeah. Big ones. I guess they must have been that long, and the barrel must have been that big around.
Mm-hmm. What kind of a gun was it, would you know?
I don't think I know what you mean.
Or was it an automatic or a revolver?
And I'm sorry, officer, but I don't understand. All I know it was the biggest gun I ever saw. Must have been that long, that big around.
Mm-hmm. Did it look like this one?
Oh, no. No, that's just a pea shooter compared to the one that fellow was waving around.
Mm-hmm. Did you see a car when they left?
Yes, I did. Right out in front was. Parked in front of the sign. Hey, you see there where it says reserved for patrons?
Yes, sir.
Right there. That's where the car was. After the fellow told me to dump the cash into the paper bag with the bottle, the woman opened the door, and both of them ran out and jumped into the car. Roared off down the street. But I got a good look at it. Real good.
Mm-hmm. Then you can give us a description of it?
You bet I can. Dark, 1953 Ford sedan. Four-door. Had one of them sun things on the front. You know, like a shade.
Yes, sir.
Used to have them on the buggies when I was a young man. Guess if you wait long enough, they get back to everything.
Yes, sir. How much money did they get away with, sir?
Oh, guess it must have been around $225. Round in there someplace. Give a couple, take a couple.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you'd know either one of these people if you ever saw them again?
No. You just bet I would. Even with those masks on, I'd be able to pick them right out of a crowd. You just stand them up in front of me and I'll point them out. I'll never forget that gun. Biggest gun I ever saw. Must have been that long and that big around. That one you got there is a real pea shooter.
Mm-hmm.
How's it look, Joe?
No, it's the same couple. Description fits perfectly.
I checked around the people in the crowd, found one old guy who says he saw the pair come out of the store. Got a good description of the car.
Mm-hmm.
I already gave him one. I can tell you anything you want to know.
Yes, sir, we appreciate that, but we do want to talk to everybody who knows anything about the holdup.
All right. You go ahead and talk to the other fella. You go right ahead. Yeah, I got something he can't give you.
What's that, sir?
License number of the car they drove.
An immediate supplementary broadcast was gotten out to the cars in the area with special attention to the units covering Alexandria Avenue. The search for the pair of thieves went on, but as the hours passed and they failed to hit again, it became apparent that they had eluded us again. The next morning, the car was found abandoned on the east side of Los Angeles. It was a stolen vehicle, and after it had been checked with the crime lab for latent prints, we were no further toward apprehending the suspects. Conferences were held with the chief of detectives, Thad Brown, and it was decided to place an extensive stakeout on the liquor stores in the Hollywood area. From past performances, the pair seemed to work their operation in that general area more than the other parts of town. The stakeout was maintained for 3 days without results. On Tuesday night, July 29th, Sergeant Henry and I waited in the squad room for reports from the other officers out in the field. 1:15 a.m.
Well, looks like another night shot.
Yeah, still no action. Stores will be closing in about 45 minutes now.
Yeah. You got a cigarette? I'm out.
Yeah. I think there's a couple left in here. Yeah, just two. Here, go ahead.
I'll go down the hall and get a couple packs later.
That's all right. Here.
Heard from Frank?
No, I talked to Fay night before last. She got a letter from him. Said he thought he'd be back about the end of the week.
Say how it's going?
No, he just read me a couple parts of the letter. I guess it's all straightened out. Suspect's coming back on his own.
Extraditions can sure be a pain. I had to go back to New Orleans on one last year. Had a miserable time. Guy gave us a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I remember. I get it. Now, let's go. They just hit again.
In the stakeout area?
No, out in Highland Park. They're way out on this one.
What do you mean?
Well, the victim decided to give him a little trouble.
Yeah?
The male suspect broke off the bottom of a whiskey bottle and worked the victim over.
Mm-hmm.
Almost killed him.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Chesterfield's for me. You hear it everywhere. A brand new survey of campus cigarette dealers at 274 leading colleges and universities shows Chesterfield the largest seller. Nobody knows it better than America's #1 band leader, Ray Anthony, who plays college dates coast to coast. Here is Ray with his attractive wife, Dee.
In cigarettes, the young crowd really goes for Chesterfields. I've noticed that wherever we've played. And I guess it's one of the reasons Chesterfield is America's most popular two-way cigarette. Of course, Dee and I are Chesterfield smokers, too. We know they're best for us.
Chesterfield's for me. You hear it everywhere. The Chesterfield you smoke today is the best cigarette ever made. And best for you.
At 1:13 a.m., the pair of thieves had entered a small all-night grocery store in the Highland Park area. They'd gone through the usual part of their M.O., asking for the bottle of Canadian whiskey and then the money. However, when they asked the victim to turn over the money to them, he had told them to get out of the store. The male member of the team had grabbed the bottle, hit it against the counter, breaking off the bottom, and then struck the victim several times about the head and shoulders. When we'd gotten the call, the man had been removed to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, where he was in a critical condition. An immediate search of the area had failed to turn up anything that might lead us to the apprehension of the man and woman. A citywide broadcast was gotten out on the pair, and arrangements were made for their description to be broadcast on the police television program. Newspapers carried the stories and joined with us in asking for full cooperation from the public. For the next 3 days, we received several calls with information on the suspects, but when all of these were checked and sifted, we were right back where we started. The stakeouts were maintained on the liquor stores, but the suspects failed to hit again. On Monday, August 4th, we got a call from the county hospital telling us that the latest victim was in condition to be interviewed. Slats Henry and I drove over to see him. He was unable to tell us anything more than the dozen victims before him had told us. 3:15 p.m. We went back to the office.
Want to check the book?
Yeah, I'll get it. Yeah, there's a message here that a Reese McKay called. He left a number.
Say what he wanted?
No, just wants us to call. This table, we got to put something under this leg. It sure wobbles, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Been that way for years.
Yeah. I'd like to speak to Mr. Reese McKay, please. My name's Friday, Los Angeles Police Department. No, Police Department. Yes, surely. It's the attorney's office. Yes, sir? Mm-hmm. This is Sergeant Friday. Yes, sir. Certainly. When was this? Mm-hmm. All right, sir. No, we'll be right over. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Oh, might be something.
What'd he say?
Woman was in his office this afternoon.
Yeah?
Said something about being involved in a robbery. Sergeant Henry and I signed out of the office and drove over to the address the lawyer had given me on the phone. We waited in the reception room for a few minutes, and then his secretary ushered us into Mr. McKay's office.
Come in, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Reese McKay.
Yes, sir. This is Sergeant Henry. My name's Friday.
Oh, yes, you're the gentleman I talked to on the phone.
That's right.
Well, sit down, and I'll try and tell you what happened.
All right, thank you very much.
You've got to realize my problem in this thing.
Yes, sir. What's that?
Well, if this isn't anything worthwhile, I certainly don't want to have a client embarrassed. You can understand that.
Yes, sir.
I suppose I just tell you what happened, and we can go on from there.
All right, that'll be fine.
A couple of days ago, I got a call from a young woman who said she wanted me to handle a divorce for her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we set up an appointment for her this afternoon. She came in, and we went over the problem. I don't want to go into the detail of the divorce action. I don't think that'll have any bearing on the rest of it.
All right, sir.
Well, to get to the short of it, we were going over the necessary information. The door burst open, and this man came in.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know what it was all about. My secretary was right behind him, seeing that he just pushed his way right through the reception room.
Well, who was he, do you know?
Well, he said he was the woman's husband.
That true?
Well, apparently, I told my secretary to wait outside, then I asked him what he wanted. He didn't pay any attention to me at first, said it wasn't any of my concern, told me to keep my nose out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he and the woman had a big discussion. Seems that he didn't want her to divorce him, made all sorts of promises how things would be different if she came back to him.
Mm-hmm.
At first, she seemed to go along with the idea. As you know, we like to effect a reconciliation wherever possible. So I told him to go ahead and talk it over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I left them in the office, went out of the reception room, and for a while it seemed they were getting along all right. Then the shouting died down, and they seemed to have agreed. All of a sudden, it broke loose again. They started to scream at each other, and I went right back in the office, and just as I opened the door, I heard the man tell her that if she didn't come back, he'd cause her a lot of trouble. He said for her to remember that she was mixed up in the holdups, too, and these were the exact words. Don't forget, you're mixed up in those stick-ups as deep as me.
I see.
When they saw me, they both quieted down, and a couple of minutes later, they both left the office. The woman said she'd get in touch with me about the bill.
It's certainly something that should be looked into.
Yes, that's what I thought. That's the reason I called you.
Can you give us the name and address of the couple?
Yes, sir. I have it right here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Pretty difficult to imagine that she'd be involved in anything like that. Pretty woman, beautiful hair.
Is that right?
Yes, flaming red.
We obtained the address the woman had given Reese McKay, and we checked her name through R&I. We found no criminal record on anyone answering her description. While Slats called Chief Brown and told him what had happened, I asked the record division to make a run on the husband. We found that he'd been arrested 3 years before for attempted armed robbery, but that he'd been released for lack of evidence. 5:40 p.m. Slats and I drove over to the woman's address. The name on the mailbox in the apartment lobby read Mr. and Mrs. George Winston. We rang the bell and we identified ourselves.
You want to come in?
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here, ma'am?
You mean in the apartment?
Yes.
No, I'm alone.
Where's that door lead, ma'am?
Bedroom?
You mind if we take a look?
Maybe you better tell me what this is all about first, huh?
You better go ahead, Slats.
Yeah.
Suppose you're used to hearing that you've got a lot of nerve.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's true. What's this all about? Isn't there some law that says you got to make a complaint or something?
Where's your husband?
That bum.
Where is he?
I don't know, and I don't care if I never see him again. Nothing but trouble did I ever get from him. Miserable man.
Mm-hmm. You haven't any idea where he is?
No. Don't think I'd tell you if I did until you let me know what this is all about.
What's your husband do for a living, ma'am?
You guys are so interested in him, why don't you ask him yourselves?
Place is clean, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I told you that going in. What's this all about? Now, come on, tell me or get out.
We understand you and your husband had an argument this morning. Two of you mentioned something about a robbery.
Oh, I understand it all now. Now it's all real plain. Look, what George said was a joke. That's all just a joke. He didn't mean anything by it.
The way we got the story, it sounded pretty straight.
You got it a little mixed up.
Or maybe you better come downtown and tell us all about it, huh?
What for?
Well, we've got some people down there we'd like you to meet.
I got enough friends.
Well, then let's put it down to these people who'd like to meet you. Do you want to get your coat?
I think there's supposed to be something like a charge, isn't there?
Yes, ma'am. That's the way you want it.
I do.
All right. Suspicion of robbery.
What makes you think you can make it stick?
Well, we wouldn't be taking you in if we didn't figure we had a case.
You'd save all of us a lot of trouble if you'd tell us where we can pick up your husband.
What's in it for me?
What do you got now?
Nothing.
Well, that's the best we can do.
What makes you think you can hold up this kind of a charge?
A dozen victims, for one thing. Slats, you want to check the closet, see if you can find the green coat and the red shoes and purse?
Yeah.
What happens if I've got a green coat?
Well, it makes us look pretty good, doesn't it?
A lot of girls got green coats.
Yeah, we're looking for one.
She's supposed to look like me?
Description we got matches exactly.
A lot of people in the world look like me. Same people who have green coats.
Mm-hmm.
Got 'em, Joe. Found 'em up on the shelf in the closet. Take a look. They match what we heard.
Yeah, would you like to try this coat on, Miss Winston? Then we can get going.
Okay, but you guys are sure going to find out that you're wrong.
Is that right?
You just bet, and it's going to cost the city a lot of money because I'm really going to make a big thing out of this.
Well, if we're wrong, we'll admit it.
Then you admit you could be making a mistake.
No, we don't.
I read in the papers where there was an old guy beat up in a robbery. Same ones you're after me for?
Might be, yeah.
How's he doing, the old guy?
Well, we're not sure yet.
He's going to live, though, isn't he?
I told you, Miss Winston, we're not sure.
You got a cigarette?
Yes, ma'am, here.
Here.
I want you to tell me something. Tell me true.
What's that?
You really think you can put me in those stores?
Yes, we do.
I can't make a deal, huh? I'll tell you things and have it go any easier?
No, ma'am. All we can do is see that it's marked down that way.
Best I can get?
That's the best.
I'll take it.
What?
I'll tell you about it. I'll tell you the whole thing.
All right, go ahead.
Well, you got the right people, me and George. I knew when he hit that old man we'd had it. Knew it right away. That's why we quit. I was afraid. If the guy died, you'd be able to get us for murder. I didn't like the robbery part, but I didn't want any part of a killing. I never did like the setup. Never. I used to tell George I didn't like it. That didn't make any difference to him. He wanted to be the big man. He used to sit here after hitting the places. George would get the morning papers and sit here and laugh at the cops because he had them running after themselves.
You know where he is?
Yeah. He's in a hotel down on West 7th, using the name Evanston. I'll give you the address.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. Oh, George. He's going to be real surprised when you walk in on him. Real surprised. Sure wish I could see the expression on his face when he finds out what happened. Sure like to see it.
Well, that makes you even, doesn't it?
Huh?
He'll want to see yours.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 17th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Veneman. Friends, we've told you that Chesterfield is the best cigarette for you to smoke. Now, to me, Chesterfield's record with people who do smoke them regularly backs up that statement. Chesterfields are best because they're highest in quality, low in nicotine, because they smoke mild, and they're really satisfying. I wish you'd give them a try and see for yourself. America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular or king-size Chesterfield. Best for me, best for you.
Geraldine Ruth Winston and George Roland Winston were tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree, 5 counts. They received sentence as prescribed by law. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 5 years in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Vic Perrin, Herb Ellis, Vic Rodman. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Filter tip smokers, this is it. L&M Filters. The one filter tip cigarette with plenty of good taste. Much more flavor, much less nicotine, and effective filtration. Only the L&M filter contains the miracle product alpha cellulose. Absolutely pure, non-mineral, harmless to health. Yes, this is it. As Barbara Stanwyck puts it, L&M filters are just what the doctor ordered. Buy L&M filters, the light and mild smoke. Hear Rocky Fortune following John Cameron Swayze and the news on the NBC Radio Network.
Novak, for hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak. For hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. It's easy to rent yourself out and you make a few bucks, but sooner or later you get burned. It doesn't make any difference whether you're a man or a mouse. Because down on the waterfront in San Francisco, they build the traps both ways. Oh, everything looks easy, but sometimes they fool you, like putting shatterproof glass in a fire alarm box. And you gotta watch out every minute. Because down here, if you reach out to help a panhandler, the guy'll take your arm and hand you back the dime. I rent boats and deal any place. I'll give you a good trade-in on a second-hand soul. Works out all right. Sometimes you're on top of the heap, if you like the kind of heaps they got down here. But you got to get your laughs in a hurry, because you find out right away you're not going to make any more headway than a hummingbird in a wind tunnel. I found that out Wednesday afternoon. Must have been about 3 o'clock. The sun was out down at the far end of the bay. It put a head on the clouds down there and put the rest of the sky in a good mood. Over across the bay, it was a warm, easy yellow that made you think of a pound cake full of eggs. It was too nice a day to work inside, so I closed shop and started down to a pool hall on Market Street. I never got there, because on the way I stopped by the laundry to pick up a couple of shirts. It started right there, when the clerk walked over to me. He was full of fizz and the sort of guy who gets a bottle of hand lotion for his birthday.
Well, Mr. Novak, is it?
I don't know, is it?
Yes. My, we have a nice day, haven't we?
Yeah, I want some laundry.
Not any better than yesterday, though. Not a bit better than yesterday.
What do you do? Give them all a rating? How about the laundry, huh?
Yes. Let's have the ticket.
All right.
Mm-hmm. 428. That should be right down here.
It's just a couple of shirts.
28. Yes, here it is. That'll be $1.84, please.
Well, it sounds like a fair price, but I'll take my own.
Own?
This isn't mine. It's too big.
Are you sure?
Look, I had a couple of white shirts. Now, you better look again.
Well, the tickets match, you see. 428. You must be wrong, Mr. Novak.
Now, look, fella, shirts don't swell. They shrink. The package is too big.
Too big? Oh, well, we better open it. Yes. Yeah, I can wrap them again easily. Don't worry.
Yeah. It's not my shade of pink.
Oh. I guess it's not yours.
Thanks.
Here's some men's clothing, too. How about these shirts?
If I were a jockey, I'd take them. I want my own.
Well, yes, of course you do. Oh, goodness, I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, you got a problem. How about these shirts, though?
Oh, we've mixed up the tickets, and someone has your package.
Who?
I don't know. Maybe we can check on the collar markings. Let me see.
Yeah.
Yes, now, let me check in the book. Here we are. This laundry belongs to Earl Hayes.
Yeah, where's he live?
Are you going up there?
I want my shirts back.
Yes. He lives at 321 Dorset Place.
Yeah, give me that bundle.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Novak, and please apologize to Mr. Hayes. I'm so angry at myself, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, be careful you don't stop a hole in the floor. See you later. When I left, he was wringing his hands and shifting from one foot to another like a small kid in a department store. On the way up to Dorset Place, I looked at the bundle. There were a couple of women's blouses and 4 loud-colored shirts. 2 of them looked like a Navajo blanket somebody'd sewed buttons on. I tried to wrap up the bundle, and about 10 minutes later, I got to 321 Dorset Place. It was up on Telegraph Hill, and it was an old place somebody'd remodeled. It was supposed to be modernistic, but it reminded you of a chromium-plated tool shed. Apartment 2A was on the second landing. I went up there and knocked. Earl Hayes didn't answer the door, but you couldn't quarrel with what you got. She was in her 30s and pushing 40 hard enough to bruise it. But she looked good standing there in the doorway, long and lean enough to make a greyhound turn in his card. She was wearing green lounging pajamas, and you've seen bananas in looser skins. You could see the bay behind her through the window, and she stood there brushing back enough red hair to sell to a mattress factory. And as she pushed the door back, she started to smile. Her lips were a pale red color and moist enough to put a desert on its feet, and you could tell she thought she used them to talk when you got tired of everything else. Standing there in front of her, you got the same feeling you would if somebody pressed the treble and bass key of an organ at the same time.
Hello. What are you selling?
Shirts. Is your husband home?
Should I have one?
I don't know. It depends on the climate.
Come on in anyway.
All right.
Who are you?
My name's Novak. I'm looking for a guy named Earl Hayes.
You better sit down.
It won't take me that long. He's got my shirts.
Mr. Novak, you don't look like the kind who'd lose a shirt.
I don't want jokes, lady. There was a mix-up down at the laundry. I got Hayes' stuff, and he walked off with mine.
That is stuff in the bundle?
Yes, it is.
All right, put it on the table here. We'll see. I don't think you're smart, Mr. Novak.
Huh?
Where's the other shirt?
You got them all right there.
There's one missing.
All right, see the laundry. All I want's a trade.
There must have been another shirt in this bundle.
Maybe it was too dirty. The boy couldn't clean it that fast. Now, look, friend, if you want to argue, go ride a streetcar. I came up for 2 white shirts. Now, where are they?
I suppose Earl Hayes has them.
And where's he?
I'll send you to him, but I'm afraid you won't like him.
Then I'll be lonely. Just tell me where he is.
2 floors up. That'll give you time to work over that story.
Yeah.
Because he'll know you're lying. He'll want to know about that shirt.
What makes it that important?
The fact that it's missing. I'll find him upstairs. I hope it works into a friendship.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will. He'll know you're lying, and you'll get tossed around like a green salad.
Is he tougher than you?
No, he's just not as versatile. Good luck, darling.
When she said good luck, you knew she was just being polite and didn't mean it any more than the hangman when he tells you to watch your step. When I left, she was over by the window leaning back against the table as shy as a runaway boxcar. And you got the idea she'd be fun to know if you had a lot of money and an oxygen tent. Well, I rolled up the bundle and I started for the 4th floor. I knocked on the door, and when it opened, I knew I had high bid for trouble. I could see into the room, and there were 3 or 4 gonifs sitting inside. They had a dull, anxious look as if they were trying to find another worm to pull apart. They were the sort of guys who might have been born, but you wouldn't want to bet on it. The one in the door was a big guy with bushy eyebrows that met near his nose, and the way they ran across his face, you got the idea he got tired of the old ones and grafted on a vine instead. His face wasn't much better. It looked more like a relief map than a face. It was pockmarked and the color of moldy bread, and you knew if a woman kissed him, she'd get blood poisoning.
Hello, Novak.
You Earl Hayes?
Enough to suit you. Come in.
You're good at guessing names.
So a little bird told me.
Yeah, I saw her. She's got nice feathers.
Where's the shirt?
Here's the bundle. Take your pick.
I don't like any of these, Novak.
That's all I got.
Where's the shirt, Novak?
Just wear a collar, mister. You don't need a shirt. Yeah, I won't need a memory for you, fella.
Suit yourself. Tell me about those shirts. Hello, Earl. Come on in. We got your boy.
Who is he?
You made a deal. You know his name.
I never saw him before, Max.
He looks different now. He came up with some of your shirts.
That's true. I went by the laundry. Said a guy named Novak picked up the shirts.
Except one of them's missing.
Couldn't be missing. They're all in one bundle.
Ask him then, but do it nice. He's touchy.
He doesn't have to ask. Now, look, mister, if you're Earl Hayes, I want my shirts.
Give us the other one. We'll make a trade.
You got the best deal you're going to make, Hayes. Now, I want those shirts.
Get yourself a loom, then. All right, Joe, get his on.
Let go.
Wait a minute, Max. Sit down, Hayes, or we'll take your ticket away. That's it. Now get his other arm over there. Why don't you keep your eye on Hayes? All right, Novak. It's you or Hayes. Make up your mind.
I got it made up about you.
You're gonna tire first, Novak. Where's that shirt?
I don't know. Try Hayes. He looks healthy.
Hold him up. He's slipping. You need handles? Hold him up. You're running out of chances, Novak. Where's that shirt?
I don't know.
Hold him up. Why? If you can't find the reason, don't. All right, Hayes. How's your temper?
I slid down to the floor so fast I almost went under the varnish, and I spent the next couple of hours checking on the termites. It was getting dark when I woke up, and right away the room was full of company. The host was Earl Hayes, and he was lying on the floor as dead as a cracked bell. He was over by the desk, lying on his back and grabbing at the rug like a Hoover vacuum. The hair was wet against his head, and the perspiration on his forehead started to break up and run down like tears, so you got the idea he cried out of his hairline instead of his eyes. He didn't seem pained or put out. He was smiling a little as if he realized he had a better deal. Over by the door, Hellman was talking to a couple of coppers. He sent them downstairs and walked over to me.
You woke the neighbors, Novak.
I don't snore that loud, Hellman.
You made the noise with Hayes?
Yeah. How'd I get my face this way?
You look better to me, Novak. How long you been here?
A couple hours.
That fits in. The coroner's already been here. He says Hayes was beat to death an hour ago with that poker out of the fireplace.
You better check on the prints.
I already sent it down. You slept too long.
Oh, Inspector. We came by for the step.
He's right there. Tell the morgue to keep him out till I get down.
Come on, Joe. That's it. Sure is a little guy.
He'll bury easy. Tell him I'll check in at 8.
Sure will, Inspector.
All right, Novak, tell me all about it.
I came up here for a shirt.
That's not hard to get. What about Hayes? How'd the beef go?
It went both ways with a guy named Max. You better talk to him.
I like you better.
Oh, you're not bright, Hellman. I've been out of the game for 2 hours.
Look, big shot, don't push me around. You got a story. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. You could have taken Hayes and run into trouble yourself.
That's the hard way, Hellman. I don't like your whip. Get another boy.
You'll do, Novak, and you'll do it all downtown. Yeah, Hellman talking. What do you mean you can't send him up yet? Who's in charge down there? Give me the guy in charge. Huh? Well, 2 guys just came up here. You must have sent them. They were here. You must have sent them. Yeah. Well, you can send them for me.
Don't tell me, Hellman.
Oh, it couldn't happen.
No, it couldn't happen to anybody but you, Hellman. It's going to look real good, too, when they find out you let 2 strangers walk in and steal a body.
I don't understand it.
It's simple, Hellman. You better go in and rob that bed right now. Because when they're through kicking you around down at headquarters, you're going to need a sling. And with a figure like yours, it'll take a good-sized bed sheet. When Hellman hung up the phone, he turned the color of early summer squash. He stood over to the window, running his hand through his hair. He left the window and stood in the center of the room for a minute. His coat was open, and his stomach was piled up on his belt in nice, even layers. It reminded you of a rolled-up garden hose. And the way his pants fit him when he walked, you got the idea somebody sewed an anvil in the lining. After a while, he came over and started to talk to me. He kept pulling his ear, and in the dim light there, it looked like the cross-section of an eggplant.
I'm still going to hold you, Novak.
You'd look better with a hot potato, Hellman.
I'm going to hold you for 12 hours. In the meantime, that body will show up.
He didn't look that active to me. Wake up, Hellman. You've been backed into a corner. You better get a body first.
Look, Novak, I know the guy was dead. I'm not going to sit on my hands.
It's the most fun you'll ever have.
I'm going to check those prints, and I'm going to find out why you were up here.
I came to see Hayes. The laundry pulled a switch, and I came up for shirts. Checked with the guy at the laundry.
Yeah.
And on the way downstairs, stop at 2A.
Why?
There's a souped-up redhead down there. You can ask her a question.
You can do that with any woman.
You can ask her who Max is. I went there to find Earl Hayes. She answered and sent me here.
There's only one thing wrong with that story.
Huh?
There's no redhead in 2A. I checked all the apartments. 2A's been empty for 3 months. The people are out of town. I think you dreamed her.
I don't dream that good in the afternoon. Look, Hellman, I'm walking out of this place, and all you can do is hear the echo.
I want to see you go, Novak. Maybe you'll do something wrong, and I'll track you down.
You couldn't track down a live bear in a telephone booth.
I'll make a try on you, mister, and when I'm through, there'll be enough to put you right in that gas chamber.
They can save money and do the same thing.
Huh?
They can lock me up in the same closet with you. When I left, Hellman was wandering around like smoke in a drafty room. I picked up Earl Hayes' shirts and ducked by the laundry, but the clerk was gone and the place was closed tighter than the lid on a city scandal. Well, I tried to think back, but nothing made sense. In the first place, what made that shirt so important? And why did the laundry clerk have the wrong address for Earl Hayes? And the main hooker was that body disappearing. Why? If Max killed him, they were in the clear. Why take a gamble like that just for laughs? I knew I had to get some answers pretty soon because Hellman wasn't an easy guy. He was a tough, hard cop with a heart big enough to hide behind a piece of birdseed. Well, I had a couple of places to go, so I looked up Jocko Madigan. He's a good guy, and he used to be a smart one, except he didn't like the San Francisco fog and worked out one of his own. I finally found him in the hunt room at the Bellevue Hotel. The crowd was at one end, and he was down at the other. I found out why.
Take it one for my baby and one more for the road.
Now, wait a minute, Jocko.
Ah, Patsy, I'm singing a little sentimental ballad.
All right, Jocko, now you've had enough.
Patsy, I'm as sober as the next man. I've been drinking since 8 o'clock this afternoon, and I'm as sober as the next man.
Now, stop it, will you?
Patsy, you know I hate whiskey. But do you realize that 85% of the human body is liquid?
Yeah.
Now, is there any sane reason why all that should be water? Of course not. It isn't fair. That's why we have communists.
Jocko, I'm in trouble.
Of course you are. Knowing you, Patsy, is like walking hand in hand with a moral pygmy.
All right.
It's true, Patsy. You have no moral sense. All you have is a small bundle of regrets, something which you drag out periodically as proof of your decency.
Will you listen?
but you're not even decent enough to regret the things you've done. From some of your conversations about the only things you regret are the things you haven't done. The only reason you haven't caused more trouble is that you're not fleet-footed enough.
All right.
You're hopeless, Patsy. You're like some overripe planet, disemboweled and thrown from the skies. You don't know where you're going, and you can't remember where you've been. Your only joy is motion, and your only sensations are heat and cold.
You all through, Jocko?
Yes. What kind of trouble?
Hellman wants me for a dead guy.
Where is he?
He was up on Telegraph Hill, but he's gone now.
He didn't die long, did he?
Somebody took the body away.
That's a funny thing to collect.
Oh, none of the story lays right. The guy's name was Earl Hayes. There was a laundry mix-up, and I went up there to trade.
Yes?
Now, look, I want you to hop down and find out everything you can about Earl Hayes. Find out who his friends are. Find out where he's from. And see if there's a guy named Max anywhere, will you?
Where are you going?
I gotta find a girl.
I felt that way myself earlier tonight.
Will you hurry, Jocko? We don't have time to run your love life.
Yes, well, time is a minor drawback anyway. Good night, lover.
It was nearly 11 when I walked out of the bar, and the way things were going, I couldn't beat a vagrancy rap with a pocket full of annuities. I had to find that girl someplace, but it wasn't going to be easy. You might as well try to French fry a kettle of bones. I went back up to that apartment to see if she left a pointer anywhere. Hellman had a copper out in front, but he was sitting in somebody's new Nash reading a comic book. I went all through the apartment, and on the way out, I spotted the matches in the wastebasket. The folder had been used up, and on the outside it said Bonton Club, Duval Street, Key West, Florida. Well, that was the first break I got. Most people use their matches fast, so if she was using Key West matches, it must have meant something. I got onto a phone booth and started calling up the hotels. Finally, a hotel up on Taylor said they had a Miss Rhoda Warren on the register from Key West, Florida. For $5, a bellhop will tell you anything, so he said she was a redhead. I still didn't know, and when I went up there, she wasn't in. Well, I had to get back to my place for Jocko's call, and when I walked in, I got sorry about that $5.
Hello, Mr. Novak. You keep bad hours.
So do you, and your name's Rhoda Warren.
You like the name?
Yeah.
Go ahead and use it. It's a phony.
How about Max?
I don't even know him.
When you called him today, it was a wrong number.
Oh, please, Mr. Novak. You're not big enough for menace.
No?
No, you're like everybody else in the waterfront. You got some muscles, a few stage whispers, and 30 cents in your pocket. So don't try to make a sale.
Except you'd like to buy that shirt.
Yeah, if you want to sell it.
What makes it worth $1,000?
Your imagination. 500 will buy it.
You're bad on guesses. 500 and Max will do it.
Look, I don't have to deal with you, darling. You're a pauper on paper and in your pocket. So I can just sit tight while you sell or go broke.
Where's Max?
Sell him out. If I were in a hole, I'm not. You are.
All right.
Let go of my arm.
I need some help, lady.
I don't know whether you're making love or trouble. Either way, let go of my arm.
Have you figured out yet?
Please, you're hurting my arm.
Where's Max? Come on, I'll twist you until the skin comes loose. Where is he?
Please don't.
All right.
I'll make your friends anyway.
Yeah, Novak talking. Yeah, I've been out all evening. Whereabouts? Yeah, well, he can't use it anymore. Where are you, the Compton? Yeah, thanks.
The laundry clerk?
Yeah, he found that shirt.
Tell him not to lose his own. And wish him good luck.
Will he need it?
Well, maybe not. But he ought to take it while it's cheap.
I knew it wouldn't do any good to press her for Max now. If she was going to tip her mitts, she'd do it on her own. I left my place and grabbed a cab for the piers. I got out near Market and walked over to the laundry. The back window opened up like a hunk of sky after a bad rain. I found the shirt lying out on the table. It looked like the rest of Earl Hayes' shirts, except for one thing. The collar was full of writing, a few letters and a lot of numbers. I took them down, left the shirt, and headed for my place. I got one of those shirts from that bundle and copied in some of the same numbers. Then I picked up a cab for Rhoda Warren's hotel. For another fin, the bellhop went blind, and I got into her room about 12:30. Her room was empty, but her bags were packed on the bed. I took a 60-40 chance and planted the shirt in the bottom of one of the bags. I told the bellhop to tip me off when she came in, and I started back to my place to wait for Jocko's call. I did about as well as a bottle of scotch in a Louisville bar. A squad car picked me up at the corner and said Hellman had a call out for me. About 20 minutes later, we pulled up to Pier 19. Hellman was waiting there, moving around like a pea in a boiling stew.
Hello, Novak. Walk me down the pier.
Find a crutch. What's on your mind, Hellman?
Walk me down the pier.
All right, but I won't take your arm.
They found the body.
How, radar?
Almost. The Coast Guard boat spotted him floating in the bay. They radioed in. We're hauling him up now.
Yeah. We're all busy. I found a shirt, too.
Well, we may not need it. Those fingerprints worked out just right.
Well, if they're mine, it's too pat, Hellman. You're too smart a cop to buy that kind of plant.
I'm a smart enough cop to hold you. Now that we got Earl Hayes. Here we are. Yeah, got him down there?
Yeah, we're passing him up. Grab a hold of that.
Here, I'll get him.
All right, Bo.
Here he comes. There.
Well, that water sure changed him, Hellman.
There's a mistake. He read his identification. They said it was Earl Hayes.
Another plant, Hellman. He's the laundry clerk.
What was he doing out in the bay?
Maybe that's the way they do the laundry now. I'm going home, Hellman. You better stand on his chest.
Huh?
That way they can't steal him without taking you, too. Well, that 60-40 was beginning to pay off. Somebody was gathering up the loose ends, and it was going to be easier now because things were getting tight. But you can say that for a lot of wedding rings. So I bummed a ride, and I got to my place about a half hour later. I had some trouble there because the cop on duty wanted to take me down to Pier 19 again. He looked wistful, so I told him about a place down the street where he might catch a peeping Tom, and I finally got rid of him long enough to get up to the room. As I walked in the door, the phone was ringing. Yeah.
Hello, Patsy. This is Choco.
What'd you find out?
Earl Hayes was popular. Anybody could have killed him.
For instance?
There's a lot on him in the Chronicle morgue. He's wanted for smuggling.
Yeah? What else?
He had a girlfriend. Her picture's here.
What'd she look like?
Oh, I haven't had enough experience.
It's the same one, I guess. What else?
And Earl Hayes once served a prison term with a man named Max Stoffer.
That's our boy. What do you got on him?
He lives here now, and he runs a business out on Van Ness Avenue.
What kind of business?
Oh, it's going to sound funny. He runs a funeral parlor.
Well, what does that prove?
Doesn't prove a thing. Just because you're a perfume salesman, you don't have to smell pretty.
When Jocko hung up, everything began to slip into place. I could see now why everybody wanted that shirt, and the reason why Earl Hayes disappeared was 10 feet tall. I called Hellman. He said he knew all about Max Stoffer, and we had a squad car on the way out. I met him at the corner of Geary and Taylor, and we rode out to Van Ness. Max Stoffer's funeral parlor was over near Pine. When we pulled up, the lights were out except for a lamp in the front room. Hellman walked in the front door without knocking, and we turned in where the light was. It was a big night for stiffs, and there were 3 or 4 caskets along the wall. In the center, over near the fireplace, there was a casket on wheels. The plate on the outside said a man named Peter Dawson had the lease. Hellman was about to start upstairs when a door in the back opened.
Hello, Novak. What are you doing here? Is the man with you dead?
Not too dead to talk to you, Stoffer. He's Inspector Hellman from Homicide. The bag looks heavy.
Is he talking to you or me, Max?
Where's she going?
I'm putting her on a train, Novak. Do you care?
It's up to Hellman. He wants you for killing Earl Hayes.
I thought he disappeared. I'll add on the laundry clerk, too, after I visit the train.
You put her on that train, she'll get off at the next station, Stoffer.
Huh?
She gave you a bad story. That shirt you got's a phony.
Wait a minute.
Save yourself some time, mister. Check her bag.
Oh, he's crazy, Max.
Make the odds, fella.
Let me see that bag.
Take a look. He's trying to stampede you, Max.
Give it here.
No, underneath there. The other side.
There's no shirt in here. What are you trying...
I don't know how it got there, Max. He must have put it there honest. I don't know how it got there. Something crazy's happened.
You don't sound sure.
Please, Max. Hey, Max, stay away. I gave you the right shirt. Max, leave me alone.
Take it, copper. Take her for the laundry guy. I'll read about you, lady.
Max, you're crazy. You're crazy to tell him.
I'll tell him all about it. I'll tell you every word, copper.
All right, don't forget yourself, big shot. Don't forget to tell him what you did with Earl Hayes.
There's nobody.
Oh, you silly fool. You silly fool. Don't you know why they're here?
Shut up.
You'll open them all. You better tell him now. He's in there, Hellman. He's in there with Peter Dawson.
You had a chance, baby.
Leave me alone, Max. Leave me alone or I'll break you up. Can't win them all, Max.
Put away that gun. Hey, get away from her. Yeah, don't need the gun anymore.
No. Pick it up, copper.
Well, you had a big night, lady.
Yeah. What happened, Novak? You put that shirt in there and you lied to him.
Yeah.
You lied to him and he thought I did. He thought I lied to him.
What's the difference? As long as you killed him, you still get a prize. The next morning was easy for Hellman. He shook the girl for the story on those shirts. The markings on the collar were bill of lading numbers on stuff going to the islands. Everybody was being watched, so they had to handle it that way. Earl Hayes used to leave the shirts in that laundry, and each time somebody along the line marked one of the shirts. Hayes took the shirts to Max, and he got the information to the right people in the islands. Out there, they had a line on what to hijack. Most of the stuff was gold, and it was a good game for everybody, until that laundry clerk made a goofy mistake. He got the bundles mixed, and he left one shirt out. When Hayes picked up the wrong bundle, the girl and Max thought a double cross was underway. After Max worked me over and killed Hayes, he went down to the laundry shop, and he couldn't find the shirt. He could only think of one thing. Hayes had the shirt on. So he got him out of that apartment. Once he had him out, he figured the easy thing to do was to make him disappear for good. So he put him in a casket with another guy on his way to the boneyard. In the meantime, the clerk found the shirt and called me. The girl overheard the conversation and figured the laundry clerk had the shirt with him. She got in a beef and killed him. She went down to that laundry after me and picked up the shirt. Well, from there on, the cards fell the wrong way. Well, Hellman asked only one question. That laundry clerk was an innocent guy. Wasn't it too bad he got knocked off? Oh, I don't know. When you think of how many buttons you lose in a year, it doesn't seem so bad.
Pat Novak for Hire was previously released by ABC, the American Broadcasting Company, for listeners in the United States and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and